Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 204. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, along with Johnny V, as we are again reunited in our glorious Milwaukee studio.
For a short time before you leave again.
Again. It has been a whirlwind of traveling and craziness and excitement. So much good stuff going on, and it was a few days ago. I was taking a look at the calendar, and I think on the home front, I saw that there might be 6 or 7 days or 8-ish that I'll be actually in Milwaukee. In Pewaukee, my home front, during this month. It's pretty crazy, and August really isn't much different. So, then of course
we have a pro tour event every other week.
That, and then you're talking about a few of our major championships, including things like the Junior Worlds, which of course we'll discuss in a little while. Mm-hmm. There's just so many different things going on that it almost, and then in some regards, almost subtract the day, because by 5, 6, 7 o'clock, whenever it is, depending on what errands I have to run, I then also leave to come here. As we know, then that takes on anywhere from
I've always told you don't have to.
2 to 4 to 6 hours to consume entire Tuesday night. And then by Wednesday, I'm typically leaving again, as I am tomorrow, to head down to Idlewild for the Idlewild Open on the Disc Golf Pro Tour this weekend. So pretty crazy. We'll recap what I saw taking place at the Junior World Championships presented by Dynamic Disc this last weekend. It was awesome. Absolutely nothing short of awesome down in Emporia. We're going to catch up with Dana Vichy. I think we'll have him on in just a little while. I'm guessing he's going to have some updates and details regarding the Kona Piste and some other action that was going around the country. And I just got another follow-up message from our friend Madison Walker. And although we thought she may be at our satellite location down at Dana's, it sounds like a few minutes ago I got the update saying she is still in Madison, Wisconsin, where she was last night giving a demonstration. And it looks like she's going to join us a little later in the show, coming to us from Madison. At that rate, I mean, she should just drive over. She's only an hour away. Come on.
She could be here by
That's
the time
about the only way to pin her down these days.
By the time she got in the car and drove here, it would be about time for her to be on the show.
That's true. And then we'd know that we're going to for sure have her. But Madison is planning on joining us tonight. So it should be pretty awesome. Good evening to everyone. We see some people out on the board. I haven't even updated the thumbnail or made any post about what's going on. I've been kind of running around all afternoon, but we're glad everyone's here. Again, podcast 204. What is it, July 17th? Here we are in the middle of July already, which is incredible.
But I think your system keeps beeping.
Oh, that's all right. It's just making noises. It's like you haven't edited in 20 minutes. Why don't you get back over here and get at it? I don't have time for that. And speaking of editing, real quickly, I'm going to go ahead and make the plug. It's probably my final video from the PDGA Junior World Championships. I had released it a little earlier today. It would have come out yesterday, except for as I was kind of doing a quick spot check on it after getting the final edit. It's 30 minutes long, and it
really, wow, kind of
it showcases really all 11 champions that were crowned. I tried to get everyone that was in the finals, in the Final Four group. So I wanted to get at least 1 or 2 shots from every single person that made the finals, by a hole or 2, and then a quick interview with, I think, pretty much every champion. Well, in a quick spot check, once it was all loaded to YouTube and all ready to go, there it is. Doug Bierkes calling off a champion, and the wrong name pops up next to it. And it was a different champion from a different division. I had accidentally mislabeled something. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this to an adult or a kid. I can't do it to a world champion.
No.
So that means you go back in, you make one little edit.
Yeah.
You let your computer sit for an hour.
Especially a junior or a kid. Like, this might be one of the few times they get a chance to be recognized, like,
Correct.
at this level. And if you're to mess that up, it would break their tiny little heart.
It broke my heart to see it because, again, it was a full hour-long render and then a full upload to YouTube. But please go out. I hope you enjoy it. If you don't at least think about weeping at one point, I'm not sure you have a disc golf heart. It was there was some just very special moments taking place out there with these world champions being crowned. So please make sure you go out there, take a look. It's out there on my Disc Golf Guy channel. And please go out and check out the Dynamic Disc webpage along with, the YouTube page, along with the Facebook page. They put out a ton of content throughout the week as well. And some of it is similar and some of it's very different. So a couple different perspectives coming to you from Emporia. All right. Did I see? Do we have a Dynamite lined up?
I think we do. What is that beep?
It's probably my...
Stop it.
Maybe it's my phone.
Maybe it's annoying me.
Well, good, because you annoy me, so I guess we're set. I'm guessing it's my phone cord. I'll see if I can make it keep happening, because that would be my intention.
I just don't want to. It's going to be all over the podcast. Everyone's going to hear it.
They're going to be just fine.
All right.
Since when are you worried about quality control?
Often.
All right. I think with that, speaking of quality control, that's his middle name, Dynamite, Dana Vichy. How are we doing tonight, buddy?
I'm sorry, I'm just eating some popcorn. I'm watching that other that other podcast that competes against you guys sometimes.
Oh, the Pro Tour. He's still live?
No, that's Wednesday nights.
The News and Brews.
Oh, News and Brews is
Thursday nights.
No, I think they might be early now.
I think so.
They're on Thursday nights. I don't know why that would be taking place, but okay, maybe it is. What are you talking about?
A lot more exciting than this.
Yes, we definitely do not bring the heat like they do. They have fire topics and stuff.
We got news for later.
We got all sorts of stuff. Dana, I didn't see you anywhere this weekend. You weren't in Conopista. You weren't volunteering at the junior event. You weren't featured on a Jomez production. You weren't helping run juniors. What were you doing this weekend?
Edith was sick.
Oh, no, that.
Okay. So let's rewind a little bit. The previous week, Ashley she was at campus at Eastern Illinois University for 8 days. She got home Friday afternoon late, about 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock, Edith's got 104.5 fever.
Woo!
Just absolutely smoker. But ended up, she had something very similar to hand, foot, mouth. With the sores and high fever. So basically it was a weekend of taking care of Edith and trying to keep Lucy healthy. I would have liked to get over to the Jomez event that was at Delwood. That was on Sunday. I think they had a record amount of players. Looked like a lot of fun. I haven't watched any of the final nines yet, but I'm going to watch this one. This one, got a couple friends that played in it. Looked like they had a good time, we'll say. So, yeah, I was kind of tied up, but looking forward to this next weekend. I will be at the Idlewild Open.
Ooh.
What? Was this planned?
This is planned.
Oh, geez.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are you planning on heading down Thursday or tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, we're the whole family's coming. We've got
You should all ride with Terry.
Yeah.
The whole family.
Yeah, please. We'll just swing by, pick you up.
Yeah, pick us up and let's go. But yeah, we got an Airbnb. Whole family's coming. Should be a good time. Looking forward to getting back on the Pro Tour. I haven't been there since my triumphant Disc Golf Pro Tour.
You finished strong, Dana. That's all I remember.
My 5th place at the Disc Golf Pro Tour finals.
Finished strong.
Yes.
That's right. So I'm really excited. I haven't been at any, aside from some local regional events. I haven't traveled. If you guys know me, I've got the itch. I like to get out and about, and especially big disc golf events. So it'll be good to see all the disc golf friends and family out there, the Disc Golf Pro Tour squad, and see what I can do. Throw the disc around the woods over there in Burlington, Kentucky.
Where does Idlewild rank for you, Dana? I mean, it's clearly known as, and for many years, I think it was top 1 or top 2 in the country, according to Disc Golf Course Review, and it's still very highly rated. But how about you personally? Where do you feel like that course rates for you?
I have not played it yet. If you remember last year, Edith boned me and got really sick right before I was supposed to go, so I stayed home.
Gosh, those kids.
Had to drop out last minute. That was
Trust me,
sucked.
Dana, I still hold it over my daughter's head that, quite literally over her head when she had to have brain surgery in March when I was signed up for the memorial, and I couldn't go. So I still hold it over her. So it's what I rock her to sleep at night, and before she goes night, I go, I still don't forgive you.
Wow.
So keep it,
That's cool, man.
And someday she'll say, Dad, I wish you would have went and finished in 94th. Yeah. Darn you. Gosh. She'll realize what you missed out on.
No, I know, but for now, she doesn't realize. Hey, I brought my son to one event and I won it, so I'm never bringing him to another one. He'll think that I'm the greatest from here on out.
Good call.
Nice. Yeah, so I'm excited for that. I was also excited for this last weekend, watching there's a ton of tournaments all over, A tiers, majors, as Terry alluded to. Terry, should we want to run through the winners for the Junior World Disc Golf Championships?
If you'd like, sure. I
would love to. I'm just gonna go ahead and run through boys junior under 18 and under. Jason Harden Jr. He's from Portland, Oregon. Congratulations to him. Girls 18 and under, Cynthia Ricciardi, Columbia, Missouri.
Ricciardi.
Oh,
only because I screwed it up. No, only because I screwed it up like 6 times. I figured I'd interject and help you there. That one's Ricciardi.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to screw up some of those other names. I
think the rest of them are pretty easy.
I don't know. Let's hear the next one.
Oh, okay.
Isaiah Esquivel won juniors 15 and under. Winning on the girls' side, 15 under, Edie Hurd. Did I say that right? Is it Edie?
Yep. Edie.
I like that name.
Similar to Edith. Well, Edith, yeah, I was just going to say very similar.
Yeah, she beat Lydia Lyons, a local here from Illinois. Really, Lydia's really good. If you guys remember the St. Jude exhibition doubles, Lydia was the star of that last year before Ledgestone.
Mm-hmm.
Winning 12 and under, Anthony Anselmo. That was a pretty close battle with Logan Plake. Girls 12 and under, Lily Ruthin. Junior 10 and under, Wyatt Mahoney. Junior girls 10 and under, Virginia Polkinghorn. 8 and under, Landon Brooks. 6 and under, Elam Rose. And then girls 6 and under, Cadence Kekek. Farmington, Missouri. I can say that. And that's where Cadence is from. That's a cute name. But anyways, congratulations to all of the winners at the Junior Worlds. We've got Charlotte Am Worlds for the rest of the advanced divisions. Is that next week already?
Right around the corner. So essentially 2 weeks from today is when I'm assuming they'll be having their players meetings and things will be getting kicked off for our, I don't want to say our regular, but for what we know as the traditional Am Worlds, sans the juniors divisions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there's Idlewild this upcoming weekend, and then the weekend after that will be Am Worlds, and concluding because it's the 21st through the 28th.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be concluding for that, and then I think after that you've got like the Music City, and we've got them like a Masters World Championship somewhere in there, and it's the dog days of summer, Dana, and we are just rolling through the events very quickly. They're starting to run together.
Yeah, especially if you're Terry. Crazy.
Yep.
Nice work being at Junior Worlds and then shooting over and filming on Sunday. Good stuff there. Let's see you keep that pace up.
Yeah.
I guess you're gonna have to. But where you weren't last weekend, Czech Republic, the Konopiste Open.
I missed that one.
PGA
swing through there Thursday. Dana, did you watch the video on this? Did you watch any of the
I
videos?
watched the first 2 rounds.
What do you think? What do you think of the course? And I know this is disclaimer. I know it's a very sticky situation. Discmania. I think it's a thing. Whatever. You're sponsored by them, but the course itself. How do you feel? I kind of my personal after watching it. It just doesn't. There's not enough danger, is what I felt. I felt it was a little too open. It's very fair. It doesn't favor really a righty or a lefty too bad. It just feels like these guys can just unload, and I wanted to know your opinion.
Yeah. So, and I tweeted about this over the weekend. I said a lot of these last 2 events, we've seen some smoking, scorching rounds from our elite players, and one of the big reasons I think D-Glow saw some really hot rounds and Kona Pitch Day is because they're fair courses. There's no real Shuley type funky holes, but there's not a lot of OB. You kind of mentioned it there. There's not, we're not looking at fairways that are lined with OB like USDG, like Winthrop Gold, or maybe like the Beast. Some of these other large scale courses where we've seen events, and so what happens is players can miss a shot and they're not necessarily punished for it. They're able to get up and down for their par, or even save a birdie, especially if it's like a par 5 that has the big booming fairways. When you miss a shot, you have that opportunity to make up for it, especially when you're not having to pitch out laterally from thick woods, or you're not taking a meter in from out of bounds, and really struggling to find yourself getting a par. You're still able to score the birdie. So that's really, I think, what we saw there. Definitely at the Czech Republic, at the Kona Pitch Day Open. It just wasn't, if you missed your shot, it wasn't punishing. But in the same breath, Eagle went out and he played rounds that you think about the night before. All right, I'm going to do this on. I'm going to do this. Get out of your fly. I'm going to do this on hole 1. I'm going to do this on hole 2, etc. And got him. Excuse me. That fly was bound.
We'll edit that out in post. No sweat.
Yeah. Edit that. But anyways, he went out and just played disc golf like you think you're supposed to in your head, and it was just incredible. Like making the putts, throwing great shots. I think if you look back, hole 1, it was probably played one of the toughest holes to par. And that's because it was lined with out of bounds, and you had to do go to the drop zone. So if we would have saw more of those fairways lined with out of bounds, I think we would have seen the scores much lower. But then, we're hearing all the complaints is, oh, there's too much OB, like all this fake OB. And
yeah, I don't necessarily think they need to line the fairways with OB. I think that's a ton of work.
Yeah.
I would love to see maybe some pin position changes to just to make the putting green a little more difficult, because it kind of on a lot of them that I watched, it felt a little, and I'm not, I want to put it out there, I'm not taking away anything from Eagle, because all those guys played the same course and Eagle was on fire. Like his putting, his driving, his forehands, anything that guy, that boy, that man touched was doing what he wanted it to, and it was amazing to watch him play. And I don't think that you change this course and you change the result. I think Eagle still wins this weekend with the way he was shooting. I just think that I would love to see maybe try to tuck the pin into a place or two and make it a little bit more difficult depending on the angle. I mean, I think there was a par 5 that I saw that Simon went deep on his second shot. He went like 40 deep on his second shot on a par 5. And I kind of just shook my head, and I'm like, wow, this is just, it's a different style of course than we're going to see at the other majors, which is one of the reasons I kind of liked it too for this particular year.
Yeah, I mean, the course looks just epic on beautiful grounds and just fun terrain. I'm sure if we were to go out and play it and right now, and we'd be like, holy, what are these? What were Eagle and Simon doing? Because I mean, Simon wasn't that, he was only 5 throws behind. I gotta imagine Eagle was playing. I haven't watched the final round, but he was probably playing a little more safe than he had in rounds 1 through 3. But Simon shredded too. I mean, Simon was 5 behind Eagle and 4 ahead of Macbeth, and just crushing. But it was a thrower's course. You weren't necessarily punished by having to pitch out or take that meter in and have the penalty stroke. So those big arms really feasted there, and I think that's one of the main factors with those super low scores. And then just they're playing like a video game, like just on fire. It's incredible looking at it. Eagle was 1081, 1079, 1061, and then a measly 1039. But so really, really cool stuff to see. Other takeaways from the event: Seppo, he was throwing incredible. Like the first couple rounds that I caught him, he was just throwing so pure, like with so much control and power. It was really fun to watch. And he's putting the disc in the basket too, which has been his Achilles heel. Or what's the term? But anyways, that's been his issue. So it was pretty cool to see Seppo up there. And then Schustrick, we saw him coming off an A-tier win over in Estonia over Eagle, and then continuing the good play, going 1044, 1048, 1054. Bad final round, 984, but he had shot so well the first 3 rounds, he still ended up in 6th place. So great to see a resurgence from Will. It's a long time coming. I know he's got a lot left in the tank, so that's exciting to see his name back up there and playing confidently and comfortably. But good stuff. That was I'm looking forward to catching the final rounds there. Terry, do you have any thoughts on the course?
I was just gonna say, first of all, I didn't get a chance. I didn't have one moment of breathing time to go out and view it, so I can't speak anything to it. Of course, I saw the scores, and I was able to think about what we were seeing, and then just as you guys were just mentioning, we saw these scores go down at Toboggan, and people wanted to start saying, was it too easy? Was it not? Was Macbeth's round really just that great? So on and so forth. But then when you saw these repetitive, like almost insane scores repeating round after round, without seeing 1 second of the course on film, I'm waiting for the women's coverage, I was thinking to myself, are these guys just exactly what you guys are saying? Are these guys just tearing it up? Is there not enough danger? Is there not enough punishment? Or are they just peering lines? I mean, you think back to when you think about courses and making them tougher, and some people, I always kind of relate it to the USDGC a few years ago with Josh Anthon there, when he went out and shot a 51 or 53 or whatever that crazy score was, or 54, whatever it was. No matter where those ropes were, it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, you could have had 9-foot fairways, and I think he would have still landed at the 4.5-foot mark, in the center of the fairway. When sometimes when you're on, you're just on. So who knows?
That's I want to bring up. Like, think about going out and playing Winthrop Gold without the ropes. That's the kind of scores you would see. You would see guys going 15, 16, 17 down consistently, and or Ledgestone if without all the manufactured out of bounds. That's what you're that is what you're gonna see at every round. And I think that's kind of and you hear all the complaints about all the out of bounds. So I mean, I wonder if some of the same people complaining about the low scores in the course are the same ones complaining about all like a course like Winthrop Gold or a course like Lake Eureka with all the out of bounds. So I think it was refreshing over the last couple weekends to see a couple at the Pro Tour, the major, and not have all the out of bounds, and to see these players go out and just attack mode and not have to really worry about it. It was kind of fun and a step back in disc golf, maybe 10 years ago, before everything started getting, before it was the trend to trick out the courses with excessive out of bounds. But
Now, well, and I was in my head as you guys were going on about the course. I was also going to just throw it out there and say, are you guys dancing around just flat out saying the course was soft? I mean, could that be said or not? And I genuinely am asking that. Could that be said or not?
I don't think the course is soft. I think there might be maybe one par that's a little off. Like I said, when Simon is blowing past a hole on his second drive, and Simon's a freak, no doubt. A lot of those people were not getting there. But that there was maybe one, maybe two that could have been pushed from, I think, a 5 or a 4 to a 3 or a 4. But ultimately, I think it comes down to there not being punishment for being even a little bit off the fairway. Because you could still be a little bit off the fairway, kind of under a tree, and still have room to get a good clean forehand out or whatnot, because the trees aren't low.
Okay.
So ultimately, I think that's the more what led up to these scores. But but ultimately, I don't think the course is soft.
Okay, and that was, like I said, that was a genuine question as to, what someone could attribute these scores to, or when the best of the best, and you just, we've named them all in those top few spots, when they're just on, they're gonna shoot ridiculous rounds and ridiculous.
It's like what we said about Paul last weekend. It doesn't matter how much OB you put on that course, he's not finding it.
Correct.
And Eagle was very similar, where he was, for the most part, in the fairway, in the perfect spot for his second shot, whether it's a putt, another drive, an approach. He wasn't straying too far. You add a little bit of danger, maybe it costs him a stroke or two throughout the entire tournament. So
here would be my follow-up, because of the personal conversation that myself and Dixon Jowers and Paul Ulibarri had right after that round last week at the Toboggan. Paul talked about, for lack of a better way to summarize it, Paul just talked about the advantage to the farther throwing individuals. Who was on top this weekend, and was that attributed to how far and how hard they throw? I mean, does anyone else have a chance at that course? I guess maybe that's the follow-up.
I don't think so. And I think that this course, truly, it's one of those courses where you look at it and you go, this flat out favors Eagle, Simon, Paul,
Theodore.
Elvin. It flat out favors those big arm throwers. They have an advantage over other players where you won't see that at Idlewild. You won't see the big arms, or even what you see at Vegas. I don't think Vegas or Memorial, they don't favor the big arms as much as I think this particular course did. But fair
enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. Anybody, Dana? Tell me you've then consumed the women's coverage. How was that?
I don't know if they have. I honestly don't know if the final round women's coverage is up. The plan that I saw posted was final round coverage for the women. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen I don't even know if the men. I assume the men's is up. It's just been so no, I have not seen any coverage. I don't think it's up, but that was a heck of a battle.
Yes,
that was I'm looking forward to seeing that. Coming down the stretch, it was Evelina Salonen and Henna Blumrose just battling it out. Evelina had a great third round, 995 rated, where she beat Kat by 12 throws and essentially knocked Kat out of contention. And going into the final round, she had a few on Henna, and she had 5 on her, and Henna ended up beating her by 4 throws that round to make it a 1-stroke victory for Evelina. And that's back-to-back huge events in Europe for her. She won Skiflefte Open last week, and week before the event before that, she had won the Sula Open. So she's on a little bit of a heater right now. But winning, she beat Paige and Kat last week. Some great competition. She beat Henna. She beat Katrina, Kristen Tatar, excuse me. So she's playing some really good disc golf. It'll be interesting to see if she comes over to the States. I doubt we're going to see her this year. I see she's signed up for the European Disc Golf Championships and the Nokia Open moving forward. So I don't think we'll see her at Worlds. But
yeah, that's a shame, because I would love to see her at Smuggler's Notch. I think that's the type of course that she could perform pretty well at and give the odds-on favorite, Paige, or even Kat, you could say, a run for their money. And it's a shame that we're not going to, that someone as talented as both Evelina or Henna, we're not going to see. So,
yeah, both those girls are signed up for the European and the Nokia Open moving forward. Those are the only two events on their PDGA schedule. But shout out to Evelina, back-to-back wins, got herself a major win. Eagle, his first major win. However you slice it or dice it, it's pretty awesome stuff. Congratulations to both of them. And I do look forward to watching final round coverage from both the men's and the women's. Actually, more so the women's, because it was a tight race, where the men's was already, it was kind of just Eagle coasting in for the win.
Yeah, Paul made it kind of seem like there was a little bit of a chance for a little bit when he got the first 9 out of 9, and the gap, so to speak, was 3. But I think Eagle was on hole 2, and Paul was on hole 8 or 9 or something along those lines. And Eagle had parred the first 2, and then suddenly his scorecard turned green for Eagle. And then by the time Eagle was to his 7th hole, it was almost certainly wrapped up at that point. It was kind of one of those things you're like, all right, nobody truly, other than Simon, if he pulled off a couple eagles and a couple, and Eagle had a little misstep, could catch him. So bravo to Eagle. Congratulations on his first major. It's going to be an interesting year from here on out to see what shakes down with a lot of our top players.
Yeah, definitely. And Eagle he's been winning all year. He wasn't, it's not that he was hot earlier and then just hot now, but he's winning all year, and it's going to be exciting to see if he can continue that on. I don't think he's playing again until the MVP Open. So it's taking a little bit of time off. Let's just call it. He'll be fresh and ready for that last East Coast stretch, with MVP and Worlds and presumably USDGC and Pro Tour finals and all that. So cool stuff. It's an exciting time to be a disc golf fan. And then the women's side is kind of looking. Paige absolutely dominated the early part of the season. We've seen Kat win a number of events here in this mid part. Now Hokum, she had a rough weekend this last weekend at the Silver Cup, but aside from that, she's been playing really good disc golf. So it's anybody's game, for both sides. I'd say in the women, we got about 4 names that can really compete for the world championship, and the men's, man, there's a number of players that I wouldn't be surprised if they won, but so far it's been Eagles' year.
Well, let's talk about can we talk about the Brent Hambrick?
Yeah, Brent Hambrick, 22nd annual. This was a 3-round event. It's I think they played 24 hole rounds. Pretty long event, and then there's a final 9, and that final 9 for the men's division was off the hook. I wish I was watching live scoring, and Max Nichols was winning going into it. He was winning, I think 6 holes in, and then 5-6 holes in, and then all of a sudden I look back and Chris Dickerson's winning and James Cole is tied. There's ties for the lead. Drew was a stroke off, and then when it was all said and done, Max unfortunately finished out poorly. He finished tied for third with Drew. He shot a 32 while everyone else on the card shot a 27. Chris Dickerson got himself a win, really grinded it out there. James Snappy Cole, second place. He came from way down during the third round. He shot a smoking 1079 rated round to jump from, I don't know, like 15th place, I think, to into the finals. So pretty cool stuff. It's a historic event. It's great. They raise money for leukemia research and in the name of Brent Hambrick. I went and played that one time. On the women's side, Jessica Weiss and Rebecca Frazier battled it out, and Jessica Weiss ended up hanging on by 3 throws over Rebecca. And shout out to Shasta Chris on the men's side. He held off a charging Ben Bott. I think I read Shasta's Facebook post. He said Ben was actually learned how to play from Brent Hambrick, and Ben got an ace on the hole that is near the Brent Hambrick tree, and then hit like a huge putt on the next hole and like took the lead from Shasta final round, but he was able to come back and get the win. It sounded like an epic battle, and I think Shasta had almost said it wasn't meant to be for him because Ben just was crushing. So, but congrats to Shasta. It's nice to be on tour and get wins, and that's what he's doing right now. So, good stuff there. We had another A tier Silver Cup. Terry, you were up there for part of the weekend. Johnny, did you make yourself? Did you make it up to Manitowoc?
I did. I joined Terry. He picked me up on Sunday. We went up there, mid-morning, caught some of the, I followed along some of the Masters, followed around the women, who we've got Madison, who's ready to call in. She's
hanging out in our digital green room.
In the digital green room almost. And then we finished up watching a little bit of the MPO close it out. And it was it was an amazing battle. I've played Manitowoc. I played Manitowoc 15 times, and they put this course out to some extremely longer courses than I have played in the past. They linked it out, I think, even from what the Pro Tour had when it was there 2 years ago. And ultimately, it came down to like the last hole or two, I believe. I think this is the second to last hole. I believe Adam Hammes locked it up. Cale had some issues going into that hole, and I think I would look at live scoring, but I don't think it's truly updated.
It was finally updated.
Oh, was it finally updated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or just hold your breath for just a couple days, and we're going to have full shot-by-shot coverage along with some great commentary.
So, yeah, on hole 23, which is it's a very short hole. It's about
170.
I was going to say 220, but yeah.
Oh, no, you might be right on that. I apologize. I'm thinking of the hole before it.
Yeah, it's about 220 feet straight uphill. Like, just... Oh, yeah. It's literally, I think, about 35 to 40 feet straight up. You throw it to a hill, a couple trees in the way. I know Cale had some issues getting up and down. Adam parked it, took a 2-stroke lead there, or took a 1-stroke lead there over Cale, I believe is what it was. And maybe it was over Kevin at that point. But either way, took the lead and ended up walking it in. Didn't need to get the last hole, so he was able to not even attempt a tough birdie and ended up taking it. So local boy comes in, taking down a bunch of the touring pros that were there. Kevin Jones, James Conrad, Nate Perkins. Cale's not exactly a touring pro. He's a really, really, really good local pro these days. Regional, we'll say regional pro, because he doesn't get out to too many other events. And takes it down. And a lot of you guys remember Adam from Worlds last year when he made the final card and ended up shooting not as well as he liked there, but you can't blame a 17-year-old under all that kind of pressure. But he was able to complete the win this week.
Yeah, good stuff. And like I was watching that live score. I was watching that and Hambrick, and I was like, man, this is wild. It looked like a lot of fun, and Adam just came out and was lighting it up. A couple eagles there through the first 14 holes, and then kind of slowed down. And then Kevin and Cale caught fire, but then both those guys kind of stumbled down the stretch. Really surprising to see from Cale Pretty. It's an outlier of a round for him. 976. You don't see Kale drop below 1,000 too often, and that's especially when the victory is in sight. But yeah, fun stuff. I'm looking forward to watching that one. So I hope you had a steady hand, Terry. Who's gonna do the commentary with you?
Prior to the event taking place, it was great because now he has this very storied experience from being at Manitowoc for the last few years. Nate Perkins had said, "Hey, I'd love to volunteer some services."
Oh, nice.
So, really the timing is going to be just about perfect because sometimes it can be really hard to pin down our players, to be able to get them to do the commentary if you're not there like on it the very next day. And so it's worked out really well. I've been working with my buddy Gary, and all of the footage should be edited or is edited for the most part. And by the time we get down to Kentucky tomorrow or the next day, and people like Nate and some of his travel mates, hopefully they'll just come over to our hotel room and we'll knock out some commentary, ideally for all 3 rounds. So it'll probably be Nate kind of driving that bus along with someone else is the plan right now. So it'll be really exciting. I want to thank Jim Van Lannen and the entire Silver Cup staff for trusting in the idea of kind of having multiple projects going on this weekend, and Chad and Jeff and Nate and Gary and just everyone all hands on deck to have me and the DD crew working one angle and really enjoying my time down in Emporia for the Junior Worlds. Meanwhile, essentially an entire additional crew was up here working locally, working really hard in Manitowoc for the weekend. So really exciting to see where we're at this weekend by having multiple coverages taking place on 2 different sides of the Midwest. So
yeah, very cool. I'll let Madison talk about it a little bit later when he comes on. But Madison took down the win in the women's division. The Pro Masters 40 and up had an epic battle between Johnny McRae and Patrick Brown, with Johnny edging Patrick out by 1 throw. Shout out to Jay Ray and Steve Held for tying for 3rd place. Pro Masters women had 4 in the division. Barrett White smoked it, stayed above 900 all 3 rounds. Shout out to Barrett. Your boy Johnny Rumble, looks like he won in a playoff in Pro Masters.
4-hole playoff, 3 or 4 holes. Took him a few extra holes, but he eventually took it down. Good old Johnny Rumble.
Nice Rumble. Yeah, and then Don Hunkel and 55 and up, and Rick Rentz and 60 and up. Since we're down there, might as well give all those guys a shout out. But congratulations to all the winners there. Man, there was a bunch more events, but I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly the Badlands Open, Patterson Lake in North Dakota. I played this event a few years back. It's a really epic course. Daryl Nodlin, probably one of the best disc golfers you've never heard of, unless you've heard talk about him here or you're a student of the game. But it's Daryl's course. He tricks it out. Lots of out of bounds. Really tough design. It's Winthrop Gold inspired per him. But he actually sometimes he plays. Sometimes he just runs the event. But he ran the event and played and won. He went 10-28, 10-32, 10-16. I don't know how much he plays anymore, but I would love to see Daryl show up at a big event and play, whether it's playing in the Masters division or playing in the Open division, just to see what he can do and just to see him throw. But his rating I don't think he has enough rounds, but he's 1023 rated. So world class player. He runs a really good event, and he won that event this last weekend. So if you guys are ever driving the northern route, east or west, definitely stop in Dickinson, North Dakota. And then I do want to shout out Tommy A. He ran a women's only event, the Feather Frenzy, presented by Legacy Discs, hosted by Birdie Babes. WDGC, I don't know what that means, but there was 41 women in Lockport at the Canyons, and Carla Carrera came down and got the win in the Open in the women's pro division over local Casey Glade, and Erin Oakley won Pro Masters women, advanced women. Isaac McDonald's sister, Bree McDonald, she's a gamer. She came out and won. Played some pretty 836, 862. I don't think she's been playing a whole lot, but when she shows up, she definitely can win. Judy Reeder got a win. Samantha Dlusky and Leanne Reedy won, along with Angie Arena in the novice women. But cool stuff seeing a local women's only event. I know Ashley really wanted to play in it, but coming home from a long week away from the family and then sick Edith kept her at home. She was bummed about that. But yeah, I think that's about it. I've got one last thing. This on Monday, Discmania released the Roaming Thunder, which is
look at all those swirls.
So swirly, but check that out.
So Dana, this is a fundraiser disc for you, and you get $40 for every one sold. Is that how that works?
Yeah. Yep. It's the definition of disc golf, Rich. But yeah, so I do get a portion of the proceeds do go to me. But I want to thank all the dealers out there that have picked these up, and then everybody that has purchased them. Swirly CD2, it's one of my favorite discs. I think it's an underrated disc out there in the disc golf world. And if you see one, you should check it out. If your favorite Discmania, or if your favorite disc golf shop doesn't have them, ask them to order them. I can help set you up with an account. But thank you to Discmania. Manny, I think he's out on the board right now. Manny Trujillo, he did the artwork, killed it. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. It's pretty cool, and one of those dream come true things.
Very nice, Dana. You didn't even hit me up to order any. Maybe I'll order a few just because your name's on them or something.
You should.
I think I could see doing that. Set me up. I'm already set up with an account. Anyway, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for letting me do a little spiel there. But
hey, as long as a little portion of that goes right towards that coverage, I can't wait to see. I'm glad to do it. All right, Dynamite. We appreciate it. We got Mads fishing for questions out on the board. She's excited to join us. It's been a long time, and we're excited to catch up with our A-tier winner in Madison Walker this weekend and see what's going on with her. So we appreciate your updates, and I look forward to a big hug from you in the next day or two there, buddy.
That's right.
We'll see you on the road, and yeah, keep all four on the road or something like that. No wheelies, as Mike Barnett famously says. So we'll see you out there tomorrow in Kentucky. Good night, Dana.
All right, we're just going to do one thing here real quick to get Madison all set up, and then we will be good to go.
All right, this will not be the first time, and I'm guessing not the last time that we've had Madison Walker join us from a grocery store. One would think that that's a common occurrence, and, well, we'll make it work one way or another.
All right.
With that being said, winning an A-tier, the Silver Cup this weekend, presented by DGA, none other than Innova's very own Madison Walker. How are we doing tonight, Mads?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We are doing quite well.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. What Madison grocery store are you hanging out at? Like Whole Foods?
It's getting crazy out here.
Yeah, you're at Willie Co-op, you said, in Madison? Is that where you're at? Or
Yes, I am in Madison. I was planning on leaving today and going to Manuka to stay the night with the Vichy's, but I got a little caught up because I love this place.
What have you been doing in Madison that you love so much? I have a mixed relationship with the city. I think it can be a lot of fun, and it can be a little bothersome when you get a little older. But what do
you mean?
It's a whole nother podcast. What are you doing to entertain yourself in that city? What is keeping you there?
Well, there's water sports galore. I got invited to go out on a boat at my clinic last night, so I tossed around that idea, but Danielle, who worked through the Pro Tour, and I decided to go look for mushrooms at Devil's Lake State Park today.
Wonderful.
Very popular. All right. And were you successful?
We were. we found a couple of chanterelles, which are what we expected this time of year, and then Danielle and I kind of got. She has a little faster pace than me because I'm just always taking pictures and looking at birds. So we kind of got lost from each other, and she found a bunch of lobster mushrooms, which are a delicacy. And we met back at the car, and she had a backpack full of lobster mushrooms.
Wow. All right.
Mhm.
Successful day. And you no issues with legally picking those or any challenges? I mean,
No.
you're not outing yourself here in any legal form, are you?
Nope, no mental effects except for I think they're good for your brain.
Okay. So Dana just quickly glossed over, and we'd love to get more in depth. There's a lot of things going on, but let's get in depth right away. You told me and so many others you played some really good golf by your standards, and then some. You played great golf this weekend, and it felt good. What was working for you?
Yeah, I kind of in Montana, we've been playing in rain and with mosquitoes pretty much every weekend. So you kind of have to either master your mental game or lose it because it's pretty frustrating to constantly be playing either in the rain or mosquitoes. So I kind of been dialing that in while I was in Montana and when I was in Minnesota. And this week I feel like it was like the culmination of everything. I feel like for the first time ever felt like I got in the zone. Um, yeah, I felt it definitely in the second and third round, big time.
And I don't want to sidetrack too much, but I did see a post conversely from Sarah Holcomb, who's been very much in the zone you speak of, and she just openly admitted that she had a really rough weekend. Is there anything that you took from that, or you noticed, or if you guys had a heart to heart, where would you be able to pin that, to help or just even observe?
We hung out a little bit this week and just chatted, not anything super in depth, but I think she was not intending on playing a tournament this weekend. She wanted to take some time off, which is understandable. I mean, we've had this time of year is always pretty grueling. The schedule is just like a lot of driving in between tournaments, and a lot of it's optional. And she kind of, I feel like, didn't want to play this weekend, but decided to last minute.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, just from the get go, she was kind of like, why am I out here? And if you have that mentality, even in the slightest, it's so easy for it to flood over in the rest of your rounds. And I think that just kind of got the best of her. But yeah, so it happens to all of us. This weekend, I think she probably would have done better off taking a few days off.
So you guys, and I'm sorry that I missed as much of it as I did, but you guys ultimately played the Roland Ridge course on Friday. There was 18 holes out there. That's deemed as one of the best courses or most well-liked courses in the country. It's a private course, about 15, 20 minutes west of Manitowoc. And then you guys went over to Silver Creek, and Johnny alluded to it earlier. This is a maxed out, altered, super champion, super duper course from what you'd see on like a normal day-to-day out there. Compare and contrast the courses and how you attacked them.
So Roland Ridge is it's an awesome course. They've spent a lot of time making it awesome. There's a bunch of cool structures. There's just like a lot of wooden structures throughout the course that makes it feel special. Also, it's sort of like De La Viega, where it's like a whole bunch of trees and kind of a risk reward situation where you're trying to hit a line that maybe isn't there. So like Roland Ridge is the type of course I would like to play more than one round, just so like all the luck evens out, because you can shank and park it, or you can throw a great shot and it doesn't work out. I love Roland Ridge. I love that type of golf, but I definitely was a little frustrated during my round on Friday. Whereas Silver Creek, I feel like it's the opposite. It's still wooded and it's still, has that technical aspect that Roland Ridge does as well, but I think it's a little bit more fair. It's a little bit more straightforward. And it was a 24-hole layout, which I'm never a fan of. I've been playing a bunch of A-tiers that have these 24-hole layouts, and I don't really understand it. But I love the course so much, and I love the location so much that I was fine. Like, I was happy playing even through 24 holes.
Okay.
It's right on Lake Michigan, so it's like unbelievable.
Yeah, and Jim Van Lannen, the gracious TD, tournament director and host, who also then has the Lighthouse Inn. It can make for a really memorable and magical weekend with just so much natural beauty to take in. like you said, I know you talked about it. You're a fan. I mean, we got a bunch of Great Lakes, like 5 or 10 or 20 of them or something. But you really like Lake Michigan, don't you?
I love Lake Michigan. I love the Great Lakes. I've told you this weekend that in the South, like no one really talks about the Great Lakes because I guess we have the Gulf of Mexico, which we jokingly call Lake Mexico. So we don't. No one really talks about the Great Lakes. They talk about California and they talk about the Northeast, Maine, but no one ever talks about the Great Lakes. So it's like this secret that I didn't know about, and now that I'm here, I just love it so much, and I want to hang out here forever. So yeah, Silver Cup is a good example of that.
Yeah, taking place right on Lake Michigan. So your plan ultimately, and I know we just talked to Dana, but your plan ultimately, it sounds like tomorrow. You're running out of days. I know we talked about your travel schedule, but you're running out of days. Tomorrow, is that when you're gonna hit the road from Madison and then venture right down to Kentucky?
Yes, I might bite off some time tonight and drive.
Mm.
It's only 3 hours to Manuka. So Dana and Ashley might be getting a late night
Jeez.
visitor.
Hopefully
But
Dana's
I know
listening.
Yeah, I know the garage code, and they told me I could come whenever I
They
wanted.
change it after every time you
So,
leave. I don't know if you know that.
so yeah, I might do that tonight. Depends on how I feel after I eat dinner. But I would like to kind of split the drive in half. It's about 8 hours, and I don't want to do that all in one day tomorrow. And I would like to get a practice round in tomorrow as well.
Okay. I was saying earlier, Chad, who's coming from Madison, he's going to join me around 1 p.m. and we're heading out from my house in Milwaukee area, and we're going to hike straight down there. So at one point or another, we're going to run into you guys. What do the next few weeks look like for you? Because we've been talking about the majors that just took place, of course. All the various iterations of the World Championships that are now taking place, and yet the one you're going to be playing in isn't until September, which is also very unique in itself. What do the next few weeks look like for you?
I'm going to do Idlewild, and then we have a couple weeks that are flexible where there's 8 tiers, so you can kind of pick and choose or play or not play. So I'm going to go to Idlewild, and then I'm going to go see Radiohead, which is one of my favorite bands in Columbus, Ohio. And then I have a friend that lives in South Illinois. I'm going to go visit her and her family. And then I think I might fly home for a few days, do some doctor appointments, get my mail, that kind of stuff, do like mid-season, stuff that I need to do. And then I'm going to play the Music City Open. And from that point on, it's pretty straightforward. I think it's pretty much like a pro tour, a national tour, pro tour, national tour, worlds. I'm going to do that entire schedule. I'm going to go to Nantucket. I will not miss that tournament for the World, literally, because World is the following week.
I see what you did there, Mads. I like it.
Accident, but I caught it.
I know. I that much I assumed.
But yeah, so I'm going to do that. And yeah, that's the plan right now.
Okay. We're seeing a lot of our players, I'll say somewhat spread out, with some playing internationally.
And staying overseas this next weekend.
And staying overseas. Even someone like an Eagle who said he's not as concerned about what he's playing in over the next few weeks. He's going to kind of just take it easy, and I think he even used the word vacation at some point. Versus, and Will Shoestrix, who's over there, versus then seeing some of our players that didn't venture or won't be venturing there, and then a Yuli who's back and forth every other week, it feels like.
Just frequent flyer miles. That's what he's racking up.
Just racking that up. I don't know. Disc Golf Rich. That's what they do. I don't know. I'm not sure how everyone can afford all that, but some pretty crazy travels. Is there a part of the season where you're like, all right, either you're grinding it out, or you're going to hit a stride, or you're going to hit a wall? Is there any of those types of time frames that jump out at you?
I mean, I generally the past few years touring with Paige, I've been kind of grinding a little bit. And this year I decided to kind of reassess that and wanted to take it a little bit more easy on my body and my mind and all of that. So I'm grinding a little bit harder than I want to, but I kind of got talked into playing the Majestic. Kale is pretty convincing, and I also love his wife. So that's more than I wanted to do, but I knew Silver Cup was something I wanted to do. And after this, I kind of debated playing Music City, but I have a bunch of friends that live in Nashville, and I think the 1 week that I take off will be sufficient going into the sort of grind that we're going into at the end of the season, where I will be playing pretty much every weekend, I think, for a little while. So yeah, But Silver Cup was a nice, like after Majestic playing pretty solid and then Silver Cup, I think I kind of, I don't know, I guess found my stride. I don't know, whatever I'm doing, I want to keep doing it.
Don't
I like
slow
how
down
it's
for
going.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even though that last round at Silver Cup was like rated the same, I don't know, it was like it was like a level I've never been on. So I want to kind of hold on to that. Um, Even though it was 972 rated, I thought for sure it was going to be 1050. So
We're shocked that it wasn't. That's weird.
me too. That's what it felt like. I was like, this is what it feels like to be Ricky or Paul or Eagle.
Yeah.
Like I thought I was going to be on the news too, like shooting my 16 down.
That's so weird. I feel like somewhere you should be petitioning to the PDGA and say, I'd like a feelings rating where I feel like I shot. And then you just have to be honest with them.
I was so sure. I'm telling you, I felt unbelievable. It was crazy. I get it. It's like addicting. So, yeah. So I want to stay on that train, and I'm just I've been practicing a little bit more than I usually do after taking a lot of time off when I was in the Northwest and in California. So I think it's paying off, and I really enjoy having a extra couple practice rounds and putting a little more often than I do. So
I was gonna say I watched a few holes with you with you women, and what amazed me most of all was the putting that I was watching. I mean, even though I know Sarah wasn't having a great round, I watched her hit a couple good putts. Your putting looked awesome. Haley's putting impressed me beyond belief. Just as direct as she putts, and I was saying almost Wysocki-like the way she comes down between her legs and it comes out of her hands super straight and hard.
Yeah, she's a confident putter. She's so impressive to watch. You can tell she puts a lot of time in around the basket.
What is it that you've been doing? I mean, because I watched your putting and you looked you looked confident on top of hitting the putts, because you can look confident and still miss, but you had it both lined up. So
I don't know. I mean, I've been trying to putt more regularly, more often. I haven't been putting every day, which I feel like I should be as a professional. But also, I think a big factor into it is just it's easier to putt well when you're comfortable with where you are sitting in life right now. So just generally, I'm really happy, and I feel I mean, just being at Silver Cup and being in Minnesota, like being in these places that I love so much, it's easy to play well because you're kind of you're not very stressed. So just I think mental game has been a big thing more than anything, and I feel calm and focused when I'm putting, and that's really the recipe for success. So
well, you know what you need to do now, Madison. Come maybe October, November. Come on, move back up here. It's
skiing.
Hang out for a couple.
We've got skiing. We've got ice fishing. I mean,
tubing?
Things that I don't really like the sound of.
You love to fish. Why wouldn't you love to ice fish?
Yeah.
I mean, it
has the word ice in it. I want to wear a tank top and shorts every day.
I'll say this. I've got a lot of relatives that do ice fishing and things like that, and many of them will. They'll get into their little ice shanties, get their heater going, down into some shorts and a tank top, and just sit on the ice and fish.
I think I could deal with that. That sounds actually pretty nice.
It's getting
in your little shanty, protected, cozy. That's great.
It's getting on and off the lake that sucks.
I saw how much fun you had in the snow in Arkansas, and I think you would like some of that up here for about 6 months.
I did. I think that fun though would just wear off pretty quick.
It lasts about a week.
I hate being cold, but I did have fun in Jonesboro. That was awesome.
So last year you were mainly sidelined due to your injury. What's the update? I mean, we see your results, but do you suffer any pain? Do you think about it? Do you is there anything that comes back? You know, how have you been controlling it, if any?
During the Majestic, I was throwing. I kind of lost a little, and at Roland Ridge actually. They're the type of courses they are. The lines are so tight that it's hard. You know, naturally I threw forehands when I first started playing disc golf, so it's hard for me to want to turn my back on a hole that has such a narrow fairway and throw a backhand. So, you know, I want to throw forehands because it makes more sense to me, and I am a little bit more confident. So after the Majestic and after playing Roland Ridge, I feel like I threw a lot more forehands than I have in the past few months, and I definitely felt it, but it's more of probably a mental type of pain than it is a real strong physical pain. But I generally I try to minimize the forehands. I'm not going to go out and do a bunch of forehand field work. it's a repetitive use injury, so I'm trying not to do just that and repetitively beat it up. So I'm just gonna take it real easy and throw forehands when I have to, and other than that, I don't really get to practice them a whole lot, so they're a little rusty, but it works when I need it to, and that's kind of how I'm gonna deal with it right now. Trying to strengthen everything around there, just to give myself a buffer zone for future injuries.
Now, we've seen Seth Muncie, Disc Golf Strong, who's helping so many of our athletes and our players out there, and I know he's kind of in a lull because he's not there every weekend like he was for a little while. But how often do you check in with him and have conversations about injuries or any other preventative, situation?
All the time. He's incredibly attentive, incredibly caring for the people he's working with. So he actually probably checks on me, and I don't call back, which is, I know, Terry, that's very surprising, but
So
um,
shocked.
no, no, he really does care about keeping the players he's working with and everyone in general healthy, and so he's always kind of putting a bug in my ear, like, remember to do your workouts, remember, to do your warm-ups, remember to practice your breathing, because that helps my mental game a lot. And I really appreciate it, and so we're definitely in close contact, even though I don't get to see him all the time, which is a big bummer because it's nice to have him on tour.
Yeah, if only we could, the players more so could just pay to have him maybe and his family out on tour all time. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe there's a model there.
Much less pay him to be on tour.
Yeah, disc golf. Okay.
Yeah.
So I know I reached out to you before we brought you on the show. One of the things that I'm thinking ahead a few months, and this is a little bit selfish. I was thinking ahead. I see that there's going to be somewhat of a split in people going to possibly either Delaware as the national tour event heads over to Iron Hill this year, and at the same time, according to Zach Newhouse, who we spoke with last night, at the same time, it sounds like Canada's got a really awesome event.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
It's all right.
Sounds like Canada is going to have a really awesome event that weekend, but we're going to see you at the NT in Delaware. Is that correct? That's what you said?
Yeah. This year at the Masters in Augusta, I hung out with Mike Downs a bunch, and I really want to meet his family and meet his friends from home, and I can't. He's one of my very close friends, so I really can't afford to miss that. I would love to see his hometown and everything. And Prince Edward Island looks beautiful, looks pretty awesome, but I think the smart decision for me is to play the national tour, do my job, and also I'm really excited about meeting Mike Downs' family. I think he's such a nice guy. I like meeting people's parents. It's like my favorite thing is meeting people's parents and seeing why they are the way they are, or their kids. Terry. I got to meet Terry's kids last night at my clinic. It was awesome. They're as cool in person as they are on all the funny videos. Actually, they're cooler.
Well, thank you. And that was going to be my follow-up was, though, last night after you had wrapped up this pretty crazy weekend, 3 days of play, of course, the ATR, on the other side of the state, you came over to Madison. You worked with Mike Batka over at the Glide Pro Shop, worked a little bit with Innova. I know Danielle Charlier had a part in that as well. Talk about what went down last night, and are we going to see more of those, or how does that happen?
Yeah, so Danielle, we were talking about the fact that I like to do clinics, but I haven't got to do many this year. I tried to plan a few at the beginning of the year, like on the West Coast with Kona, but there was always either another touring pro doing a clinic, or there was always, the location was booked, or you had to have like a permit or whatever. So we ran into all these issues. So Danielle knew I wanted to do a clinic, and she kind of introduced me to Mike, which was really awesome. He is very thorough, very attentive, and really cares about the sport. So it was a really, really awesome connection. And it went from, Madison and Madison, we're going to do a clinic, funny. But then it turned into a fundraiser for a local business that burned down in like a very freak gas fire. And it's a pizza place that apparently does a lot of support for the ultimate community and the disc golf community in the area of Madison. So, and then the Ale Asylum got on too, and they both sponsored the event and the fundraiser. So everyone that showed up got free pizza and beer, and as long as they donate to the fundraiser. So it turned into this really huge thing. The news showed up. I mean, it was way bigger than I expected it to be, but it was so awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty nervous because I've never managed that many people in a clinic by myself. Probably my max is like 30, with usually someone else with Paige. And so it was overwhelming. It was definitely intimidating, mic'd up and having camera and all that stuff, and so many people. But it went really well. The people of Madison are so awesome. The disc golf community there, they're really lucky. So I had a great night. It was cool.
Yeah, it seemed like everyone had a really good time. My daughters said you were all right. I think is what one. But everybody had a really good time. And then I think I saw an update or a Facebook post today. Mike from over at Glide had said more than $2,000 was raised last night just by disc golfers. And as you mentioned, Glass Nickel Pizza, who has been a title sponsor for many years of the A tier in Madison and very supportive of the disc golf community, along with Ale Asylum, who supports disc golf on many levels at a handful of events throughout the year, also incredibly supportive. So it was really, I mean, it's unfortunate that this fundraiser had to take place or that, there was a reason to have it. But just seeing so many people come out, like you said, enjoying pizza and beer and soda and getting a clinic and you being there, it turned out to be a great night for the disc golf community in what we were, able to have all there.
Yeah, so. And definitely a memorable night as well for me. Just that experience was pretty. It was nice to know that that's something that I can handle, and also that people are receptive to it. So it's really cool.
Well, if there's anything that if you're going to get in front of a crowd and talk about, and hopefully not feel too uncomfortable or nervous, hopefully disc golf is that thing for you. Well, I guess maybe fishing. Do you feel like you could have put on a as good or better fishing expo of some sort or clinic or conversation?
I think so, because most fishing stories that you hear are all exaggerations. So like I would just get up there and exaggerate the whole time and kind of tell fibs just that are entertaining, because that's pretty much what fishing is. I'm just kidding. It would be terrible. I'm just now trying to figure out all the ins and outs of freshwater fishing. I learned a lot in Minnesota. But mostly I just know how to do things in saltwater. So It's been fun to learn.
So to elaborate on that just a little bit, disc golf, what's second? If you broke both your arms and you couldn't disc golf for a season, well, and maybe it'd be tough to fish, but let's just say disc golfing wasn't available for the year. You'd learn with your feet, I bet. But what would you do? What would be the next 2 or 3 things that you would really get into? Because I feel like we talked about some kind of sewing or some other kind of crafts at one point. How's that going?
Yeah, this question is like kind of opening Pandora's box, because I used to play this. Me and Paige used to play this game in the car of like if we could live like how another life, what it would be. And like Paige, she would get to like 6 lives and like. That would be her list, and I would be like on life number 14, and I would have another plan, and like I literally could just list these alternate lives forever. But like a fishing guide is definitely up there. A living life on a Harley would be one of them.
Well, you're in the right state. You are in the right state.
Jeez.
That's definitely up there.
I think you in a bandana, sporting the way bikers do, along with I don't know that that's quite the same style, is it?
I would definitely do the braided ponytail with the leather around it, like no doubt. Tassels, I got it.
Yes. Okay. So.
Pottery. I mean, the list is endless. The marine biologist which is what I got my degree in, so I would do that in a heartbeat. So yeah, there's a million things I would do if both my arms were broken.
Okay, no. Which one would you be most successful at? Maybe let's. And I admire the fact that you have a lot of other inspirations or passions or things that you'd love to pursue. But where would be your next success? Where would that come from out of all those?
Definitely in the sciences. Reading and writing is my thing, and I think in the academic or the research sciences would be my most successful. That's what I was planning on doing. So yeah, that would be my most successful next in line.
Now, Madison, a couple of years ago, I feel like I gave you a lot of credit in that I told a newcomer into the sport, I said, Madison Walker might be one of the most intelligent disc golfers we have out there on tour.
Seriously, you said that?
I said that. I know. Hence his response.
I'm just teasing.
So is that still true? Or do you feel like maybe there's been a few...
Did someone smarter than you come around? Because...
Definitely. Like, you get dumber the longer you hang out in the disc golf community.
Wow.
Totally kidding. No, I don't think it's fair to call me smart. Yeah, I know some stuff about marine biology, but other than that, just pretty ditzy and forgetful. I locked my keys in my car often.
Again this week? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I actually almost did again today, but thank goodness I did not. Only one time this week.
Good to hear.
And right before the first round of Silver.
I think it's Sean on the board who asked the great question. What would your biker name be?
Oh my God, that's a good question. I have no idea what is even a biker name.
Yeah, I don't think bikers really have separate...
they have names. I don't know how they arrive
like
at
truckers.
them.
Truckers have names.
I feel like Mad Dog's pretty...
Yeah.
I mean, it's duh.
You attach dog. And, of course, it'd have to be DAWG, right?
Well, duh. I mean,
Yeah.
100%. What would it be? DOGG?
No, that's just dumb.
Yeah, that's how I do it, but just not funny. Yeah, I guess Mad Dog would have to be probably the way we'd go. All right, Madison. A legitimate question also from earlier on the board was Idlewild. Any experiences? What's your hot take? What are you looking forward to? What are you nervous about? That kind of stuff.
I haven't been to Idlewild before. Last year was the inaugural year, I think, for the Pro Tour.
Mm-hmm.
And I was injured, so I have never seen the course. I don't know what to expect. I did watch some live footage last year when James Conrad was really tearing it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see the course because I know it's really tight woods and it's along the lines of what I like, and it's really long, which I kind of like long courses in the woods. So I'm excited. I'm kind of antsy to get there so I can start planning out my mode of attack, and hopefully I can just keep doing what I've been doing the past 2 weeks, which is scrambling really well.
I like how you say you're kind of antsy to get there, and yet it's taking you like 3 days to get out of. You're still not out of Wisconsin.
I mean, I can be antsy to get there and also be getting repeatedly distracted by awesome stuff along the way.
Madison's the kid in the outfield who really wants to play baseball, but is chasing butterflies.
Yeah, and is picking dandelions.
So accurate.
I do think I very much could see and I could see you really liking this course. Obviously it's a great course. That almost goes without saying because of its high rating and what people have said about it. But I do think that you really will like this course. And do you come in with a game plan when it's a fresh course like this? I mean, a lot of times, with as much touring as you've been doing the last few years, you are starting to get in a rhythm and know some of these places. Here is a brand new course on your list. What will be the game plan when you arrive?
I always like to play these types of courses with a local first because I just like to hear there's like someone's perspective that plays it a bunch. I don't know why I feel like that just helps me a little bit. It gives me a little bit more confidence. And then also I think in the woods, I always just go in with the sense knowing that maybe the best way to attack a course like this is not necessarily to go learn the shots and try to shred the fairway all the way to the basket. The best option is to really just disc down, put away your high-speed drivers, and try to just break up the fairways into different sections and approach each section as opposed to approaching the entire hole. So that's like generally my mind frame. I know I'm going to play a little bit differently than I would going out on a golf course or something and throwing my strike over and over again. So yeah. Okay. And also just preparing my scramble. I actually in practice will throw a whole bunch of forehand rollers just to get it dialed in because I know I'll use it repeatedly.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say you purposely throw off the fairways just so you can practice trying to get.
No.
So when I was asking that question, all I was actually thinking about as well is the very unique stance or the preparation that a KJ Nybo does when he goes to courses. Are you familiar with kind of his routine?
No, but I'd love to hear it because I feel like he's so fascinating.
He really is. He'll arrive to someplace like the USDGC or anywhere. He'll arrive someplace, and he may go out to a course, and with pen and paper and notes for his notes, he'll go out and really just practice like 3 whole sections of the course, or 6 whole sections over 3 days. If I do some division correctly, he'll practice 6 holes, but that might be all he practices that day. So,
Sorry, say it again.
I was saying, Mad Dog, that. Hey, Mad Dog. What I was saying was, he'll go out and practice.
Sorry,
like,
that's my ride. I gotta go.
Yeah. He'll play 6 of the holes, but that might be all he practices that day. But he'll play them a bunch, and he'll go back and forth, and he'll throw a whole bunch of different shots, and he'll write notes, and he'll dial in a course 6 holes at a time, maybe over the 2 or 3 days leading into a tournament. He won't go play 6 practice rounds, but he may go play holes, 13 through 18. He may play those 6 times, but he'll do that all on the final day before the round, the first round.
Well, that's very impressive, but I will never be like that.
Okay.
Ever.
And it's very unique. I think that's maybe why it stands out to me, because I don't think anyone else does that.
No, that's pretty exhaustive and pretty. That takes some dedication, and that's impressive that he has that. Also, that's when you're doing. That's all you're doing is doing disc golf all day, every day, and I think that's awesome. That's why he's so great. But that sounds pretty intense.
Yeah, it's just a really unique thing that I've picked up throughout the years of watching him do that and his practice routine. And he is an incredibly fascinating individual, that's for sure.
Yes, he is very fascinating.
What else do you have to share with us, Madison? As I see Dad's Drunk is talking about spike ball, and I know you've played that, and we've seen some ESPN exposure of not just disc golf, but also spike ball and ultimate and some of the other sports.
Yeah.
Do you have any hot takes on any of that?
No, they just had International Spikeball Day, and I think they did really awesome. They had a bunch of people play. I think it was like record breaking. But I haven't gotten to play a whole lot of spikeball lately, sadly. I think usually in the Midwest is when we start playing. Usually we always have a good group playing at Ledgestone, so that should pick up. But other than that, everything's pretty what you would expect. And yeah.
All right.
That's pretty much all I got. It's been a long day. Sorry.
All right. Then let's wrap this up. Let everyone, thank your sponsors. Let everyone know how they can support you in all the different ways that they can support you.
Okay. I have some Thunderbirds for sale. Also, you might have heard them called the Thunderpecker. It is my Tour Series disc through the Innova Factory store. That is probably the #1 way that you can support me on tour. It's the only reason I've been able to afford gas this year. It has been amazing. So if you guys, retailers, everyone, just keep buying those. Thank you for buying them, and I hope you like how they fly. I think they're amazing. I throw them in the woods constantly. Besides that, I have a Patreon account that I started for when I do commentary, which I will be doing a lot more of over the next few weeks, I believe. Also for other little videos I do. Terror Bear!
Awkward.
But so please, check out the Patreon account. It's, just even a little bit helps. $1 a month is enough. It all adding together is what has helped. So yeah, that would be the #1 ways to support me. And I really appreciate everyone that already has. I just got a really handsome gift from Jeffron with the Evergreen. Thank you so much for that. I had a great time at Silver Cup, and he definitely makes it special for the touring pros. And also, I really do want to say thank you to Jim Van Lanen with the Silver Cup. He definitely made my visit very comfortable this week, and that is not necessarily the most common thing on the disc golf tour. So it was really awesome.
Awesome. Well, good to hear. And looking forward to getting you involved with more of the commentary. Like you said, I know we've been trying to get it all arranged and scheduled. We're working with all these different groups to have women in combos come in on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and then some of the post-production stuff that we continue to work and put out. Excited to have you involved with more of that as we move forward as well.
And definitely big shout out and thank you to Danielle Charlier. She's kind of the mastermind behind the women's live coverage that we get to do at the Pro Tour events. So you guys keep an eye out for her. If you see her running around the course, usually she's like sprinting up and down hills. It looks unnecessary, but she's doing it and she's making it happen. Big thanks to her for also setting up my clinic. If you'll start seeing her name a lot more often. I think she's behind the scenes, but she's doing a great job with the Pro Tour.
Absolutely. All right, Madison, Mad Dog Walker. We thank you for joining us. We hope you travel safely. Enjoy paying those tolls into the damn Illinois, those people over there. But travel safely, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple days down in Kentucky.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was good seeing both of y'all this week. And I'll see you, Terry Bear. I'll see you in Idlewild.
You certainly will. All right, have a good night. Be safe, and
Drive safe.
We'll see you in a couple days.
Hey, good night, Smashies.
Say hi to Dana.
Good night.
Oh, hi, Dana. Might see you way later. Love you, Czar.
All right,
Bye.
Dana will hear her rolling into town on her chopper. As she moves.
I feel like that you could almost call her Spike because of Spike Ball.
That works.
I think that
Yep.
would be a good one. I was trying to think like Mad Spike, but that doesn't sound very good. But Madison Walker, what a character.
She is. She certainly is. She's out there. It's great to see. We've had so many great stories this year, and they'll continue to unfold. And it's just going to be a matter of who hits at just the right time. You know, we talked about it earlier that Paige Pierce started out this year incredibly, and it's not like she's going anywhere. But she started out this year, and then she's.
I'm about to start the thread. Has Paige Pierce
She washed
peaked?
up. Yeah, she's peaked. But seeing her and then watching Katrina really get dialed in there for a few weeks, and I know she
Peaked.
She didn't do it this weekend. Sarah Holcomb
Peaked.
has this mini run and put together a couple really solid wins here, proving that again that not that Paige is beatable, that Kat is beatable, and then. Seeing Madison these last few weeks also performing very well. It's awesome to see. And then there's still room. There's still plenty of room. Unfortunately, we're not going to maybe see any of the overseas contingency come challenge stateside, but it's awesome to see. Lots of great competition out there. And
Truly is.
we'll continue to see it unfold throughout the year. So I think I saw a Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, possibly the Hair, Robert McCall. I think I saw both of them out there lingering around on the boards. I don't know how they're not exhausted. They both put in a lot of effort and energy at the Junior Worlds
They've
this
had
last year.
times to sleep now.
I guess they have. But good to see them participating. Did I hear Disc Golf Answer Man's back on track? I think they were maybe a little bit.
Saw something today. I haven't seen. It hasn't popped up in my feeder yet, or maybe it has, and I haven't gotten it. Yeah, I don't see it on my podcast feed. For those of you that care, Pocket Casts. That's the one I always recommend if you're interested in a podcast catcher or podcatcher or podcast app, whatever you want to call it. There's a dozen different names.
They're
for
like
them.
dream catchers to me.
They're very much.
Keep your dreams all locked up. Was there anything else in, we'll say, PDGA news? I mean, obviously the major taking place was just that.
Two majors.
I was going to say the major, meaning the MPO, FPO major, at least MPO I know of, taking place over there on the other side. And if you think I'm taking jabs,
I was going to say, you want this to jab
if
people?
anybody's confused about me taking jabs about not seeing more FPO coverage, you've read me correctly. And
I'm going to say this. It is Tuesday.
okay.
We saw MPO get out yesterday morning, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. Yesterday morning, afternoon.
There's a time zone. And
I'm not
something,
exactly sure. I'm not going to watch it. I don't know. I know who won, so. It's, to be fair, I give them until probably today's Tuesday, the end of Wednesday, to get FPO footage out in a timely manner, and so you can say, hey, look, we have fulfilled what we have promised and given you the FPO final round footage before I'm going to take a jab at them and say, oh, where is it? I give them another day because I don't know what the crew they have working. I'm not sure how many people they have. If it's one person, if they're waiting on commentary, you know as well as I do that it can be very difficult to do certain things. So what I would love to see,
to be clear, real quick, my concern more is about the lack, not the timing of it. I get it. I understand more than anybody, and I, by all means, can miss a self-inflicted deadline for getting coverage out. I'm the first to admit it. So it's not that it's not out yet. That's not my challenge. My challenge is that there's only one round of it being provided, and that is what
no, I agree.
Still
I know
disappoints me.
I know. Okay. What I would love to see is the FPO coverage with Henna and Evelina.
Heck yeah, that'd be cool.
Just completely a foreign language to everyone in the U.S., not in English.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Why not? Why? And I know it sounds silly, but it's a foreign event that someone from Europe won. Why not have I'm going to draw like are they Finland? I don't know. I think one from Finland, one from Sweden. Either way, why not have that? Why do we always and it benefits us in the U.S. Why do we always get English commentary? Why not have them do commentary? Would there be a huge backlash? Would there be a problem with it if they came out and said, "Hey, guess what, guys? You're not going to get any English commentary on this." I think it'd be awesome.
It's an interesting idea.
I would love to see it. I would love to throw a monkey in a wrench.
Yeah. Would you love to see the third round too?
I'd love to see every round, Terry.
But
I'm just saying.
No,
I think
an interesting
I think
take.
It'd be
Honestly,
really cool.
It really is.
I think it'd be really cool to see. I think it'd be really cool to see it. I think it'd be really cool to have them do commentary. They have to sit and try to learn English every time Jomez puts out a production.
True.
So that's just my take. I was thinking that when we were going over results and thinking about commentary, and I was like, wow, that'd be really cool to have those two do commentary.
Now, of course,
I know they travel together and they're good friends.
And I do not have access to their analytics by any means over on their channel, their page, so on and so forth. What's interesting from our perspective, albeit Smashbox, the Disc Golf Guy, Central Coast, DD, whomever, everybody has access to, you can actually get some indicators of what your demographics are, who's watching and from where. And
you can do that in YouTube, but I don't care on this particular event.
No, and that was going to be my one counterpoint to your suggestion is if we find that 88% of all disc golf videos are viewed in the U.S., and this isn't a U.S. centric cocky stance, but if 88% of all disc golf videos are viewed in the U.S., does it just do the numbers just dictate that it makes more sense to have?
Yeah. But then again, what always makes sense isn't always right.
I understand that, and you don't need to tell me that. I know that.
And again, I just think it would be cool as a different perspective for the European fans to get this.
Yeah.
Or both.
Yeah.
Both would be awesome.
I think both would be the best solution.
But that's an extra crap ton of work.
Yeah, I guess it depends.
You have to line up two crews or one crew that's bilingual. I don't think English is their first language. I don't think they speak it very well.
Well, my point would be, two crews. I think of you have one set of commentators.
Two sets of commentator crews.
Yeah, okay.
Not two video crews.
Two live crews?
Two live crews. Yeah. As they could be as nasty as they want to be.
Exactly. Too easy. Too easy.
Would they be banned in the USA if that happened? Come on, Miller. We can do this all night.
No, I was gonna. I can't take that one any further.
No, we can't.
All right. And if you're not old enough to get any of those references, we apologize.
Your parents.
Yeah, ask your parents. Good call.
So, speaking of majors, we have 2 more majors left this year.
2 or 3?
Just 2.
Seriously?
Yeah. There's 2 discussions I want to have about this, but
wait.
There's Worlds and USDGC.
There's not one more?
No. And that was going to be a point I was going to bring up.
Okay. Well, then what am I missing?
You're not.
Oh. I feel like I'm missing a major.
Well, everybody's missing a major this year. So in 2015, Paul hit what we call the Grand Slam. right? And that was USDGC, Worlds,
Other stuff. Other majors.
And the 2 other majors. I don't know. The European major, and I think, was it, I'm going to draw a blank as to what major. Someone out on the board.
European Open, maybe?
Someone out on the board tell me the 4 majors that he hit. But that's considered probably the greatest the greatest year of disc golf in recent history. He swept the majors, hit the Grand Slam, yada 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 yada.
Yeah.
If Eagle wins the next 2 majors,
ooh, I see where you're going.
Is it as big of a deal because there isn't a 4th major?
He won all the ones that were available. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he could have taken in another one if he would have won Junior Worlds this year.
True. Oh yeah, Paul won 5 majors in 2015. There was an extra major. So if Andy won the NT series, thanks Dad's drunk. So Eagle, let's just say he plays very well. He's not going to win the Pro Tour because he's skipping a bunch of them. He's taking breaks and this and that. That's fine. He may win the NT series as well. If he racks up the 3 majors, is it shadowed because there's only 3 majors?
Yes.
And now you're
it's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
It's still not as good.
Even if he's quote unquote playing at a higher level than Paul was in 2015 and this and that. This goes along. I don't want to boost him up anymore if Dad's drunk, but this kind of goes along the lines of a little consistency would be kind of cool as far as having 4 set majors for our MPO and FPO players. I'd love to see that. But I was thinking that the other day. I'm like, oh, Eagle only gets 3 majors. Paul got 5. And that's a big deal. And Eagle is on pace right now to have the best year since Paul in 2015. If he can finish out the year, even winning one major, he'll have the best year since Paul. But I don't know. It's an interesting.
I'll say this: it's not his fault.
Of course
that
not.
There's not more for him to win.
Why isn't he running another one?
Yeah, exactly. Just a host winning Colorado. But unfortunately, I mean, that would be like someone saying, well, Sammy Sosa, I don't know. Someone hits 100 home runs in a season, shatters all the records. Mm-hmm. The next season is cut short, we'll say due to strike or whatever, and they had 60 at the All-Star break. They were clearly on pace, and they were having a great year. I don't. It's not their fault, but
of course,
no. It's not as good of a year.
Okay,
and that's of course not taking anything away from Eagle
or Paul
or anyone. But
I totally agree because you're right. If you looked, I mean, even if Eagle averages higher rated rounds throughout the entire year than Paul did in 2015, this and that, there's just not the gravity to it when you only win. If he were to only win 3 majors, and he's only got 1 under his belt, so I know we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. As
opposed to Paul, who racked up 5.
Well, and think about in my opinion, you have to think about the additional stress or pressures that Paul was feeling by that 4th or 5th one as well. And I don't know, there was that was an additional one looming, and then when you get to that final one, then there's that pressure of, are you going to complete it? I just don't feel like that's there when you're looking at 3 of them. And of course, if he wins 2, there will be a pressure to say, hey, you're gonna, you could potentially sweep the majors. I get it. There still will be that, that perfect season pressure of the majors, but just 3 as that Flonase commercial tells me, 3 is less than 5, or what? 6 is greater than 1. I swear, I want to punch my TV because I don't believe Flonase or whoever it is has to tell you that every commercial.
I know.
6 is better than 1. Shut up.
Depends what you're talking about. If you're talking about kicks to the face, then no, it's not. I would rather have 1 kick to the face as opposed to 6.
We could make it work.
So
kicks to the face.
Kicks to the face. I don't know. The name of this episode. So we talked a little bit about the majors. We have a little bit of breaking news that we are going to break here on the podcast.
I don't know if it's breaking.
Well, I don't think anyone knows about it.
Maybe.
Very few people. USDGC this year will be live.
Heck yeah.
They are going live with USDGC this year. I know if you go back through the history of this podcast earlier this year, you can write me up as saying that I thought they were going to go live, and
you said that.
I did say that.
Oh, okay.
And they are officially going live. Yeah, see, exclusive. Wow. it is. I think, and my understanding is that they're going with a company called Fulcrum Media. Fulcrum is known for their Ultimate. They've done stuff with ESPN3, ESPNU, I believe. They have filmed a lot of Ultimate. So they are experienced in disc sports. We don't know much beyond that. I have to assume that fiber cameras, which is what they use for the Ultimate stuff. Are they going to run it through the whole course? Are they going to just go around the lake and then do something else for the other side of the course? I know it's not cell phone live video. It's going to be true. I think it's going to be some of the best quality live footage that we maybe have ever seen. I know this sounds silly, but short of the American Disc Golf Tour, which had good quality footage. Just it looked good. It didn't necessarily portray the disc golfers.
I don't know if I want to put anyone in that category.
If you look at the resolution of the video,
okay,
you look at that as far as the quality of the cameras and the graphics, it was okay. It was better than we've seen in a lot of places. I think this is going to be better. I don't know anything else other than that.
I would all but guarantee. I mean, it's going to definitely be better than that. That's
I
sure.
agree.
Anytime you're talking about having cameras, and this is a conversation we've had now for 3 or 4 or 5 years here, anytime, maybe before our podcast even existed, you're talking about cameras that can be wired as opposed to relying on the cellular signals that we currently do. You're talking about what could be crystal clear, it should be crystal clear, damn near perfect network quality, assuming you have a decent camera and everything else is, hooked up correctly. You should have all but flawless video and hopefully then audio to carry along with it. I mean, of course, there can be challenges there, but you're talking hardwired. It's just like anything else out there.
Assuming
hardwired, if that's the route, which is the understanding, hardwired would be is always going to be preferred. It's never been a practical model for us in the sense that
it's very expensive. I just when I heard this news, I did some research to find out how much if I were to rent fiber cable, it is about $50 for 500 feet. You assume that we would need, if you wanted to wire
200-300 feet,
wire to the entire course, depending on how you did it, you might be able to get away with about 30,000 feet worth of cabling.
Sure. I mean, obviously, depending on a course and
I was thinking
start
USDGC
points,
going, depending on if you can double up, like, your catch cam can be your lead cam for the next hole. But you think about the 888 hole. You could easily double up a camera for the or for the basket shot and the tee, but there's no way you can bring it over to the catch on by the basket. So you're going to need a couple fiber runs. So whatever the raw numbers there are, I think if I had to take a wild guess, I bet you this is going to run 25, 30 grand to cover this type of, and I don't know anything other than some rough estimates.
Yeah, I was going to say, because
there's so many.
You need to throw a disclaimer in there.
There's so many variables
just
that
a completely
pulling it out of my butt.
Yeah,
because we don't know anything about how many cameras. They could have 15 cameramen for all we know. They could have two. They could have 5 sets of commentators. Or they could have none. They could run an entire production house of graphics, or they could have a real simple thing. So just based on cable fibering and this and that. In my head, I was doing some speculation. That's what I would, if I had to take a rough speculation, that's what I would guess. But ultimately, we may never know. But
that's why you send them a
request,
a request for proposal, and say, hey, we're thinking about covering our league night. How much will it cost?
Good call. So ultimately, the big news is USDGC will be covered live this year by our understanding is Fulcrum Media. And you can go out to Fulcrum Media's website. Like I said, they're very experienced crew as far as Ultimate and things like that. So I'm really excited to see some of the stuff that can be done on a clearly a much bigger budget.
Well, and what I think is awesome is disc golf for the most part has been seen, we'll say realistically, has been seen by Disc Golf Planet and the efforts that we've put out. I'm going to go ahead and bypass the American Tour, although we did see something from them, but in and out weekends, we'll say. We saw what Disc Golf Planet had done for many years. We saw what now we've been doing for these years. I am so excited, genuinely excited to see another entity of any kind tackle it. And you know, again, there's a few things that we already know that they're doing different from what we've done. Some what could be potentially huge advantages. But I'm just excited to see it.
Same here.
I mean,
if
they do things that we can accomplish, in you know, we may see something that's like, oh, that's a no-brainer. Why aren't we doing that? Who knows? And it could mean a lot more disc golf coverage in general.
It could,
which would be awesome.
Yeah, depending on costs and clientele and sponsorship and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of potential to be there. And as I was saying, I told you, even though I don't think I'm going to do it, I want to now, as a media person, go down there and check it out.
Oh, I think you're banned.
I'm
just kidding.
Oh,
I'm totally kidding.
No, I know I'm not. Some people like me. Not many. Some. Just to go in and check out the whole environment, see what they're doing, how they're doing it. Just look at like, oh, and maybe talk to some of the guys. Like, oh, this is awesome. Oh, you have I do know they have a production, like a van or truck kind of thing that they use, and they are experienced with Ultimate. So all that stuff put together, I'm really excited. We have no details about commentary or who's commentating or.
I think it's just exciting the fact that it's going to be covered. You know, we've seen the last couple of years.
This would make sense.
Attempts, but
I'm going to give this one to him for free. Call Climo.
Oh wow!
If you're not having Climo doing some sort of commentary, you're missing out at this point.
Wow. It will be awesome to see, of course, taking place in the first weekend in October, the USDGC down at Rock Hill. That's all I can say is I think it's exciting that we're going to see it happening because I've said it a million times that first and foremost, before I've ever touched a camera or had any kind of media ties to our sport whatsoever, I've always been a fan of the game. So to see one of our premier events, now have coverage is awesome. So I'm just super looking forward to it. So and some of the chatter on the board has talked about, yes, we've seen a little bit of international coverage to some degree. And I don't want to dismiss all of those efforts, obviously. No, but when we're talking about maybe this is totally, U.S. centric. You're talking about our majors that we've seen during our, I'll say, our normal viewing hours, which I know falls somewhat on maybe a deaf ear overseas when they're like, yeah, great, we don't care. We're watching Pro Tour at 3 a.m. or whatever. But for us, the majority, we're looking at, we'll say, normal viewing times, if that's a thing. And
for what it's worth, I did watch that European event, and it looked great. I didn't like the style that they chose because it was just very disjointed as far as coverage on this card and this and that. But it looked good as well. So
there's also clearly something to be said about duplicating your efforts or finding a sustainability and a repeatability. And I think that's become one of the challenges. We saw a few years ago, and I guess we have forgotten or dismissed them a little bit, the Emporia group who had put together a live broadcast crew for the Glass Blown Open a number of years ago. They invested a sizable amount of money. They wanted to come out and have live broadcasting. They invested in very similar technology to what we had done, and just found that it wasn't economical for what their goals were. It just doesn't make sense. And I don't know if you guys will realize this or not, but disc golf doesn't have or spend a lot of money or have a lot of money to spend.
and
so sustainability is a very legitimate concern.
I wouldn't say it's a concern. This might be, let's just say, play pretend Innova does this once a year or every other year. They kick out a crap ton of money to have a phenomenal live broadcast. And that's all it ever is. And it elevates their status as far as we have this type of coverage to go with our major.
Mhm.
So I don't necessarily think now, I don't know, Fulcrum, hopefully you companies out there that do real journalism, Alta World, Steve Hill, PDGA and stuff, maybe you guys are going to reach out and get some information. But if this is an avenue they're looking to get into, awesome. Maybe they can do an event or two every year. But if they want to have a regular presence on the Disc Golf Tour, that is scaling back significantly from probably what they are used to and what we ultimately have. So anyway, cool story, bro. I'm hoping we're going to find out more in the next couple weeks or months. USDGC is
it's 90, less than 90
yeah.
days away.
Yeah, less than 90 days away. So I don't know where you're going to see it, if it's going to be on Spin, if it's going to be on
a Fulcrum related site or a USDGC related site, Innova.
It might not even be on YouTube. They might have.
Correct.
It could be through another player on like the USDGC website. Through YouTube isn't necessarily always the end all be all.
Yeah, it will be. I'm excited to see and learn more about it as it continues to unfold. So we'll keep you posted if we hear anything along those lines. All right. Do we have any other? I was going to say exciting news, not exciting news.
I didn't see any. I was looking around, and there's nothing really too new on the PDGA site. It's really all covered with major stuff.
I saw Paul McBeth made a post today. He's sick of losing.
I think he's sick of playing great golf and losing.
No, I took it as he's sick of playing.
He sees these guys playing at a higher level than him and wants to compete.
Well, I think he knows he can compete, but just doesn't quite have that edge that he used to have, and that's what I think he's frustrated by. So, but he said thank you to Eagle McMahon. Thank you for showing me how good golf can be in so many words, and showing me that I need to step it up, and that is very exciting. If he really, of course, I feel like he really feels that way, and if this lights an inner fire in Paul McBeth.
I love Paul.
He says it's gonna.
I love Paul. I think he's one of our best pros on the course, off the course. The guy has nothing but professional. But he just shot an 18 down. What more light does he need in his fire? But
Eagle wasn't there, man, and that's the first thing they said.
If Eagle beating you by 5 or 6 or 7 strokes, whatever it was, lights your fire, awesome. If there are players that need that drive, that chip on their shoulder, no matter what. They always say it about Aaron Rodgers, how it doesn't matter how well he performs, he will always have a chip on his shoulder because he was drafted in like the 20-something spot. And if that's what Paul needs to
done though,
if that's what Paul needs to drive him, that's great. I just think it's kind of silly being like, I just shot one of the best rounds in disc golf history, and then I came over here and Eagle beat me by some strokes. Oh, that guy, he's getting my goat. How much more fired up can you be?
Well, I think he's got another. I think he's got another.
You think he's got a
level
a seventh gear?
I'm just saying.
I hope he does, because that is going to be great for us to watch. But it's just, I find it really funny, and we've seen this from Paul in the past. He's very much that. Would I be shocked tomorrow if I see a post from him at 3:30 in the morning at the local gym, standing outside of it doing push-ups on the window, waiting for it to open? No, because that's what Paul does. He puts it out there how hard of a worker he is, and I'm not doubting that he's a hard worker, because I've seen the results. It's just it always makes me smile and chuckle when I see these things from Paul.
What was Simon's response to this weekend? I didn't drink enough beer, or
Simon was hurt. Actually, we had a couple injuries. Paul apparently had some sort of groin injury, so he looked like he was not performing very well. Simon had a wrist injury. I guess it was he took second with a wrist injury, might I add.
Okay.
I guess there was some inflammation, some swelling, but ultimately didn't affect him too much.
Okay. There was something on the board that was posted on our board, and I almost hate to repeat it because I don't know. I guess I would assume somebody had said something about Katrina coming back, and I guess it was interesting. I wanted to look at, have you taken a look at who we're going to see this weekend in talking about the upcoming Idlewild, who is or isn't on the list? And I think that's just in general, that's a talking point in seeing I mentioned it to Madison. Our players are a little bit divided right now. There's players all over the country, and I don't know if we're going to see all of the best at Idlewild, and maybe a little Googles will get me there. Oh, speaking of a little Googles.
Okay.
It's not really Googles. It's better than Google in this case. The PDGA recently added a very cool, interesting little field to your PDGA player database. And what that does is it tells you how many, and I don't know the exact, I didn't confirm, but it tells you how many events you've played in. And it says career events. Now, I'm just going to quickly disclaim, I don't know if that includes if you 888'd or if you 999'd or not. I would assume it doesn't include you as a tournament director, but I know your PDGA number is probably tied somewhere to some events as being a tournament director. I assume, though, it does not include that. But very interesting to see that there is a new field that is visible if you're a current PDGA member. No, it's not IQ or beers, which would be both funny. It has your career events listed. So, yeah, thought that was interesting.
Terry, I was at 192 events, career events. You're at 309 career events.
Which is, when I saw that, I was like, wow, that confirms one thing, which is I've said and been all but assured that I've played more than 500 events in my life when you add sanctioned and unsanctioned, and now that more than solidifies that in my head.
I think you've played almost as many unsanctioned as sanctioned events?
I easily have played 200 unsanctioned
events. Really?
I've played 25 ice bowls. I mean, there's an eighth of them right there. Like, right there, I've played 25 ice bowls.
I don't think you have.
I don't know. I had run anywhere from 2.
No, we're not talking run.
I know, run and then played in. Yeah. Anywhere from 2 to 10 every year out at Valley View and in Milwaukee and so on and so forth. I ran at least 10 unsanctioned tournaments.
I'd have put you closer to like 150, but maybe 140.
Okay. Well,
but I don't know.
You go search through my stats that don't exist.
No.
Point is, what's crazy to me about seeing my 309 is
that's sanctioned events.
That's sanctioned events, but I've only played 20 in the last 5 years, maybe. So, I mean, obviously, I was on a pretty crazy pace for a while, way back in the day, before I started doing disc golf media stuff.
Maker's Telemark says bet. No, there's no way. Unfortunately, it's a bet that nobody can figure out because we don't know how many events Terry has.
I could probably just about drum up either files or flyers or something that proves that I easily have 200 unsanctioned events over my last 25 years. Easily.
Maybe.
Anyway, Alexis, thank you very much for the super chat. There was one way at the beginning of the show. Do you remember who that was? I saw it jump through the screen quick. Who was it? Stuart?
I believe so.
Okay. Well, we'll give him or her credit then. Thank you.
Him.
We appreciate that. Him. Something like that. So go out there. Maker's Telemark says they are selling your data. You can opt in or out of receiving promotional information, I believe, on the PDGA. I know you can opt in and out of that. I don't think they're selling your data, but maybe they are. I don't know. Who are they going to sell it to? And do I care?
Who wants that data?
Somebody does. I mean, there's good marketing.
I suppose it's some sort of sporting goods place might have a good idea and that, hey, look, this guy plays a lot of events. He's played less, whatever. But maybe.
He's I see him finishing in the bottom of his division, regardless of what it is. You see this downward trend of this ratings thing. Yeah, I'm sure they could start marketing some way or another.
I'm certain they could.
All right, I think that in terms of actual information,
we haven't given any tonight.
Darn it, we failed you again. And we apologize for that. We are going to call it for our regular portion of the show. I'm sure we're going to have some giveaways and other good stuff in the after show.
You got it right there.
As always, we invite you to join us there in the after show. We invite you to join us on the YouTube chat. That's the best place to interact. There's probably a chat taking place on Facebook right now that we seemingly for neglect every single week, so we apologize. But
And Twitch.
make sure you join that other viewer on Twitch and participate with us. So I'd like to go ahead and thank yet again the Dynamic Disc crew and the PDGA for the experience that was the Junior World Championships. I am honored that I got to be there and have any part of helping present that to the world, in addition to everything that they were already doing. I hope I can be there the next 2 years. It'll be great actually watching some of our juniors graduate from division to division over there. It was great. So thank you again, Dee Dee. You guys did just an amazing job, along with everyone from the PDGA. Very successful event, almost 200 people, 5 different countries. We'd like to thank Madison Walker, along with Jim Van Lannen and all of the Silver Cup crew here in our home state of Wisconsin, out there doing a great job with the PDGA A-tier that took place. I'd like to thank Dana Vichy for giving us some inside scoop on some of the events taking place around the country and around the world this weekend. Looking forward to seeing Dana and Madison in Kentucky in a few days. And we're looking forward to seeing all of you as well for our live broadcast taking place Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from Idlewild.
A special shout out to 5Hole9, our Twitch viewer tonight.
Yeah, every Twitch viewer gets a shout out. We're done with those. So for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, stay tuned for the after show. We've got a giveaway and probably some other nonsensical babble as usual. We'll see you then. You step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the SmashBoxxTV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Smashbox TV's podcast 204. We're here for the
After show.
Here we are in the crazy after show. Anything goes. We talk about disc golf and plenty of non-disc golf related things, action, places, people, current events, other silly sporting things taking place like World Cups.
Viva France!
Here, 2 things. One,
Spoiled it.
I was going to say, damn it, don't spoil it. I'm waiting for the post-production version. And 2, now that you spoiled it, it sucks that I've got to wait till next year to watch it again.
I think it's every 2 years.
I think it's 4.
Is it 4?
I don't know.
Shows how much we know.
I think it's 4. I'm almost positive. Somebody, what year is it right now?
That would make
2018. Sense. Just carry the 4. I know it was going on 1 year while I was in Japan. I don't remember if that was 2008 or 2010.
That's not going to tell you if it's 2 versus 4.
Well, no, it could though, because if it fell on a odd year.
Thank you, Dad's Drunk. Every 4 years.
Anyway, no, thank you guys so much for joining us. Here we are in the after show. We love seeing and hearing what you guys got. Bring it to us on the board. When you got crazy questions or stuff you'd like us to dance around, we'll do just that. Barney Davis, that's a great follow-up. A little bit of a throwback, Barney. Love it. Barney says, how is DGI working out for Paul? I haven't heard anything about that.
A couple weeks ago.
I'll expand on that and say, how's it working out for everyone? And that's not to be a slight or have any tone to it, other than I think some people are just wondering, has there been any developments? And I'll be the first to say, didn't expect overnight, like, oh, hey, we represent you, and tomorrow Nike is, your new sugar daddy or sponsor.
I prefer sugar daddy.
I didn't expect any of that to necessarily, and they very much even, I think, said and assumed. You're talking 3, 6, 9, 12-month conversations may take place before we see anything come of that new relationship or that group. Now, on the flip side of that coin, I'll go ahead and say I personally have heard zero updates of any kind about anyone, and maybe that's their prerogative will be, hey, we're gonna seal this deal or ink this deal, these players with these companies, and then we're gonna make a big splash and have an announcement, and that's how they're gonna roll things out. It means nothing that Johnny nor I or you have seen or heard anything. I feel like that means nothing. It may mean a lot, but I feel like it could mean nothing. That doesn't mean stuff's not happening. I believe stuff's happening. I just don't know what it is. So that fully answers but not answers your question.
We haven't heard anything. Sit tight. Maybe
Yeah.
you hear something. Maybe you don't. That's
So
the TLDR.
exactly. Whatever. I love Total Request Live. All right. Patrick Lowry. You wouldn't think that's so tough. That's like saying rural. Anyway, says, are you going to the United States Junior Disc Golf Championships? And Patrick, I regretfully have to say I am not. That weekend, it's just around the corner. That weekend is also the weekend in which I will be personally hosting a Next Gen regional qualifier event. That weekend is also August 4th and 5th. That date, August 4th, is in fact National Disc Golf Day, which is pretty darn awesome. It's a great day and a great situation, and it's even more neat to me because National Disc Golf Day this year falls on my 40th birthday, and I'll be running a tournament.
Yippee!
So
That's cool.
yeah, so I will not be there. I wish I could be. Obviously, Smuggler's Notch, another big junior event. This one breaking out for the first time this year. I know Matt Graham and the whole crew over there working very hard to make that very big and successful. But unfortunately, I won't have any part of it this year. I hope to change that for next year. Maybe even bring my kids.
Dad's Drunk has a great trivia question. Who was the last golfer, other than Paul or Ricky, to win a major on foreign soil? We saw Eagle win this week. The last one before that was Sexton for USDGC.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sure.
But I don't know about foreign majors. I mean, if I had to go to a wild guess, I'd say a Doss.
I'd say a Felberg.
Oh, Felberg is a good one, yeah.
I don't think Doss has won a foreign major.
Oh, maybe not.
I'm almost certain he
I'm
hasn't.
thinking of it. I don't know if how many majors he's won other than Worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, Felberg is a good guess.
Yeah. That's a great question. All right, let's see what else is on the board. We'll see what we can find as I scroll backwards yet. Late to the party, Alexa says thank you.
Yeah, who won the Japan Open when we were there?
Nico? Rico?
Nico.
No.
Nico won it, and then Rico the time before, right?
No, Rico won in 06. 08, I feel like might have been
Avery?
Felberg? Or Nico? I don't remember. That was a long time ago. Yeah, there you go. Nico won in 2010.
Yep.
Yeah, when we were there, 2010.
Yep.
And 2008.
I thought it was Avery for some reason.
I don't think it was. I don't remember. That's one quick Google away.
Anyway.
All right. So we saw some super chats. Sean Grew, appreciate it. This is the first donation for the Mad Dog biker gear, Sean says. Thank you, Sean. We certainly appreciate it.
Leather jacket and some chaps, and she's set to go.
Dad's Drunk says we should give our one Twitch watcher have them win a giveaway.
There were 2 in there.
Oh, see?
Luker H25 was in there as well. It says, well, we're down to 1 viewer again. So there was 2. Now we're down to 1 again.
So you get for ignoring them. Christy Moore, I saw her at the roller rink, one of the many activities taking place. Neither of us were on skates, which is all too bad. But I saw Christy this weekend down at the juniors event. She had brought a local to her junior along and acted as the official chauffeur and chaperone for the week, I believe. And she says on the board, for anyone with kids that play disc golf that didn't get in this year, plan on it for the next couple of years. It was only $100 to play, and they got at least triple that value in the player pack. Let me real quickly note on that, as Christopher Fowler
Thank you for the super chat.
has just super chatted, saying that he's excited to get back on track with donating hundreds of dollars monthly. Thank you, Christopher. Quick side note: the juniors at Worlds this year. Brace yourself. The juniors at Worlds this year, every one of them received a Zuka compact cart. Did you hear me?
I did.
A Zuka cart. Every junior. So all 194 of them.
One of the smaller Zuka carts.
Yes.
Not that it's by any means better or worse. They're smaller people. They should have the smaller cart.
Yeah.
But
every single
awesome.
junior received a Zuka cart. So, wow. Of course, they were all blown away. By and large, what I heard was a lot of them were walking through the line, getting all this great stuff as part of their player pack. I believe there were 6 different manufacturers in the player pack.
Ooh.
So if you want to just, throw up your arms and give a big huff about it being all, marketing or solely supported by one brand who was doing the majority of the work, then you'd be incorrect. I think there were 6 different brands of discs involved. And then they get to the end of the line and, oh, here's your Zuka cart. How awesome. So thank you to Zuka and thank you to everyone that had any part of the player pack. So I'll just reiterate what Christy's saying there. Pretty ridiculous and just great. And the one thing I do worry about is that's a pretty tall task, a pretty tall, significant thing to live up to. You keep upping the bar when it comes to player packs. And just by the nature of the beast, at some point, there's almost going to feel like a little bit of a regression there when you continue to give out these ridiculously great player packs year after year. But anyway, that's what we saw. Yeah, David Felberg won the European Open in 2011. One after that.
2012, Stockholm, Will Schustrick.
Congratulations.
I assumed it was 2012. I just did a search on Macbeth's page for all the majors in 2012. Went to that one, saw it was Schustrick, and got it right.
All right. So Christy furthers my comment a moment ago, saying they got a compact Zuka, 8 discs, 2 hats, a dude beanie,
and a Jetta
T-shirt, a polo, towels, magazines, water bottle, stickers. It was pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
And then, of course, that they had DD over at the distribution warehouse. You were also then allowed to go stamp your own disc as well, which is, of course, a very cool opportunity.
Adults get super excited about that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what a 10 or 12 or 14-year-old, how excited they would be for that. That's great.
I'll go ahead and follow that up in a similar fashion. I was speaking with Jonathan Poole from Innova. And one thing that's really cool that the AM Worlds is doing in just a couple of weeks is they're also, for the first time, having some controlled tours and disc stamping taking place over at Rock Hill. So if you're going down to the Charlotte Worlds, when you're going down to the Charlotte AM Worlds in a couple of weeks, that is something, I believe it's on Tuesday and Wednesday, those opportunities are available. Where people will be able to stamp their own disc and get. I don't know exactly what they're getting for the tour of the warehouse. Believe it or not, I'm blessed that I've seen a number of warehouses, and a lot of them just have a lot of discs, and I'm a vendor, or I have been a vendor for many years, so it doesn't excite me like it used to, but it's still pretty darn cool.
Yeah, the first time you
check
go into
those
one of
out.
those
Exactly.
is really awesome.
It is very cool. So, but yeah, Innova is offering something of that nature at AM Worlds next week, so that's going to be very cool to see. No, not they didn't get a Jetta that time, but maybe that'll be next year. Maybe it'll be a Jeep. I heard that next gen next year is talking about for player pack items giving away some form of a Jeep or something. That's something I think that would be great. Yes, and the Discraft Factory, saw you there, Anthony, was very cool as well.
Let's give away our Patreon.
All right, let's do it.
Tonight, again, as we do once in a great while, we want to thank Disc Member from Disc Store. They do a monthly service where you can pay $25 a month and you get a $50 package. Swear to God, I have no clue what's in there. All I know is there's at least a disc and other stuff. It's at least $50 worth of merchandise. At this point, they just get delivered to me now, and I don't open them, and we give them away. So once again, that's discmember.com. If you're interested in trying out new plastic every month, if you have the disposable income, like $25 a month, I would say $30 because you want at least $5 to come to us. So $5 to us, $25 to Discmember.
20 to the Disc Golf Guy Patreon as well. Round it out.
You might as well. Round it out.
Sounds like a round number, 65.
But in all seriousness, discmember.com. Thank you for supporting us. We love to give away the stuff, and hopefully you guys get some subscribers from this because it is a really, really cool service. So what I am going to do here is this what I want to see? This is what I want to see. We need a number, Terry. We need a number.
There's only 3 majors this year.
That's the wrong screen. That's the
one round of coverage of FPO. Split the difference. We have 2.
So number 2. The second one, there's 198 Patreon supporters we have currently right now. So we're going to generate the second number. The first number is 198 on the first number.
Oh my gosh, the last.
But that's not the one we're doing.
Oh.
So it's 169.
Oh, that's still cool.
169.
Sure.
We're going to scroll
What
down.
else?
It is Chase Hayden.
Chase Hayden?
Chase Hayden.
The Dr. Chase Hayden? I think it is. Out of Texas.
Awesome.
That would be a fun game. You just name people, and I see if I can randomly guess where they're from.
Okay, Terry.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
That does not sound like a good idea.
I
I am very blessed to have met and know a number of our Smashies, and for all of you. And Chase is a huge supporter of the game. So not just of us, of course, but in general, Chase
it's almost
is,
like a mystery box at this point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, or a mystery if I'll send it or if I'll smell it. But
you should put a piece of pizza in there for him.
That's not a bad idea. Like Wisconsin's finest. Glass Nickel, who supported last night, maybe?
Or I was thinking
of leftover pizza.
Your daughters probably do a lot of reading. Get a Pizza Hut personal pan pizza.
Good call.
Shove it in there.
Yep.
With the.
What would be? Are you suggesting I take the contents out and only put pizza in there? Because that would be even better.
No, I think you fit a pizza in there too. So thanks a lot, Chase. We appreciate it. He has been a supporter since April of 2017. So thank you very much. If it's Sean says if it's the July box, it's a custom stamped dart, a mystery Innova mold, a mini driving knee pad. It's an awesome package. I'm guessing because I've had it for a few weeks that's what it is. But I don't know. That could be June's for all I know. Either way, it's June or July's. I'm guessing it's July's. Thanks again to Disc Member for being a supporter of SmashBoxxTV. And please go out and support them as well if you can.
Do we have a code? If they
no, but
tell them that
there used to be you could
SmashBox
you got like an extra $15 gift certificate if you sign. But if you do sign up because of us, please email them at like support@discmember, Facebook them. It's easier, and let them know that we are the best.
The tweets.
Tell them that we are the best podcast in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't
on Tuesday nights, and you can't imagine your life without us. That's not good.
I'm just saying.
I'm checking the internets, and I see J Ray says just a few minutes ago, I had a fun time in gosh when she's
He puts in
spelled
2 words.
separately.
One word.
I haven't heard that name since I wore their overalls as a kid. Thanks to Zach Bays for helping get things set up and promoting it as he's up here in Wisconsin, which is awesome. That's right in the neck of the woods of where Johnny and I grew up in that general area. So Jay Ray running around the country doing a lot of good things with DD, and see him here enjoying the Wisconsin life at the moment. If we could only now get Madison kicked out of our darn state.
I don't mind Madison in the state.
I'm over it. She won. She can leave. All right. Just kidding. Do you guys have any idea why 93 Worlds was an A tier and not a major? Absolutely not. They had different words back then.
Yeah.
There were things like Elite Tour events and national
Super Tours.
Super Tour was a phrase that Johnny and I grew up on, and you don't hear that term really ever anymore because A tiers were Super Tours, and that was like prior to NTs existing. And National Tour, the term National Tour, I want to say came to life around 2000 or 2001.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I don't know why it's listed that way. Yeah, as our game has continued to grow and develop, who knows what. I mean, there was at one point D tiers, which no longer exist. At one point, there were what we called, and they still exist to some degree, but there were ratings-based events that were trying to kind of get them to take off a little bit more. And there was, gold, silver, and bronze, and they were all divided up by ratings. So you could actually have, it was, I don't even remember how it went now. It's been a while. I know I was part of it. You didn't have a pro division. You had a gold, silver, and a bronze division. And again, there were different ratings caps within those. But you could still be a pro, but playing in the bronze division of the pro.
Yeah.
And it was all, So there's been a lot of different, I'll say, iterations of things. Dad's Drunk corrects me and says, NT was 2004. Really? Or am I thinking of before the National Tour, was it considered like the Elite Series? I want to say the Elite Series, which I want to say was 6 events. And then it was branded into being the National Tour. That was a Dave Nesbitt. There's a name. I think that was a Dave Nesbitt initiative to brand it and distinguish them in that way. Anyway, some history I'd have to look up.
Go through your magazines.
Luke asks, any idea why Superclass tournaments never gained a following? Haha. Again, I'm not as old school as our
SD Discer.
old school players and Hall of Famers, but because very few people like the idea of throwing as hard as they can with a disc and having it go 160 feet. And so therefore, I think that's one of the reasons. I mean, everybody likes to be able to throw far and throw as far as you possibly can, and you're not doing that with an apple or 180-gram lynx or condor or whatever else was all deemed under the Superclass or a midnight flyer. All of those reasons are why that never took off.
Thanks for the show, guys. FYI, the new putter on the market is named the 86 Softy. Check it out.
There you go. Exactly. So I don't know how serious you were in asking that, Luke. I like the idea. I personally did, but it's the same reason why state overalls are, by and large, not well attended, because I feel like it's kind of the older school, older style of Frisbee and Frisbee players and those enthusiasts, and those continue to fall by the wayside and give way to kids that want to win money, win plastic, get massive player packs, and then go out and throw overstable drivers 600 feet. Like it's an evolution of the game that I don't necessarily love, because I feel like we're losing a little bit of our roots, but you can't force history from moving past you.
To take that as an example, this weekend I saw local Wisconsinite and legend of our state, Brad Wendt.
Mm-hmm.
Every event he goes to, he brings his spinning device that spins Frisbees.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And watching some of the kids, and I say kids like 16, 17, 18, whatever, look at this, and it's 2 wheels that kind of squeeze together a little bit, and when you squeeze them together, you put a Frisbee on it, and it starts to spin and create rotations, and then you just pop up from under it.
It's called a Z machine, kids.
The Z machine. Watching them all look at it like it was this alien device. Like, I saw Adam Hammis walk up and like he couldn't figure it out for a second. He was like, and Brad's like, you just kind of put it here and you pop it in. And he's had some special frisbees that have a spot for, spinning on them. And it was really funny to see everyone kind of stare at it and chuckle while Brad's sitting there doing freestyle. And Brad is in his 60s. Older?
We'll give him his 60s.
He looks good for 60.
Yep.
Dude's ripped.
Yep.
So I'll give him 60s and just spinning some freestyle. And that's kind of the mentality that a lot of these guys have. And like you said, our younger kids, many of them maybe won't even throw a lid.
So maybe to find a somewhat comparable equivalent would be you're watching our kids play a game on an iPhone, and then you kind of like roll your eyes and think, ugh, if you only knew what it was like on an Atari. Is that just technology catching up, going way past? And it's not like you're going to sit a kid down and be like, damn it, you sit here and you learn how awesome an Atari is because it's original. It's the old school. Or
maybe.
Cool. Is that, you know what I mean? Something along those lines.
You're making a bad analogy, but it's
okay. Well, I'm asking for one.
I don't know of a better one though.
Okay,
I mean,
shut up.
It's not horrible. It's just not that great.
I'm just trying to say, there's, we can't slow that down. There's going to be a few kids that take to the old retro, we'll call it retro or old school mentality of appreciating the Frisbee and the flight and everything that has to go along with it. And then there's kids that are like, where's my most overstable Excalibur? I need to go, try and rip some 600-foot shots. Because that's what's cool.
I had fun the other day when we went to the beer garden at one of the parks with some other families. Someone brought a Frisbee, just a regular, better than your cheap Frisbee you get at like a trade show. It was a nice Frisbee. And just, I yelled at one of the kids. I said, hey, go out there. And I threw one. We threw it back and forth and just teaching them how to throw a real Frisbee and then handing it to my son. And he went out and I just said, oh, hold on, Mason. It's understable. You need to throw it with hyzer and more snap. And watching him bomb it like a good 40, 50 feet past all of his friends, it made me feel good. And then all of us playing Frisbee together, it's something that I think a lot of kids don't do because they do get these drivers and stable discs in their hands. So it was very fun.
It's just a different way of life, and I'm not trying to sound like the old crotchety man that says we need to stop the technology and the development. It's one of those things.
Nothing past speed 4.
Exactly. But it in a similar sense, when my daughters were at the Women's Global, Tom McManus, I think we discussed, busted out some Frisbees, and we just sat and played catch for a long time, and that's something I haven't also done with my daughters all too often. And there's a lot to be learned when you're playing catch, even if it is with a regular Frisbee. There is still plenty to learn when it comes to mechanics and physics and stability and things of that nature. So get out there, throw a Frisbee once in a while. You remember that old claim that there's more Frisbees sold than basketballs, footballs, and baseballs combined? That was a claim for many, many years. I have no idea who said it originally, if there was any validity to it whatsoever. Even the day I heard it, I thought that sounded crazy.
I would believe that if you include Frisbee as in including all those trade show Frisbees, because thousands upon tens of thousands of those are made and given away, and they're technically purchased. So I would believe that. Whereas if you don't go to a trade show and they don't hand you a basketball, maybe a mini one, or they don't hand you a baseball or things like that. So I could buy that argument that there are more Frisbees sold than any of those other things.
Well, the big claim was that all of those combined, basketballs, footballs, and baseballs combined. Anybody ever heard that? I don't know. Let me know. All right. Dad's Drunk says, if they include dis in that, then it's definitely true. Well, and it's funny because I think that saying is at least 15, 20 years old.
Yeah,
I mean, I remember hearing that
yeah,
many years ago.
You told me that.
So I
years
have no
ago.
idea. Makers Telemark says disc golf is not the largest growing sport compared to online gaming. That is absolutely true, and that's another tagline that we kind of like sunk our teeth into, and I think we all have said it probably at one time or another, with little to zero official backing by that. We always say that. Oh, disc golf's the fastest growing sport in the world. I've heard at least 3 other sports make that same claim, and I'd love to know where that research comes from.
Where's the measurement?
Exactly. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I've referenced it or said it.
Are you measuring the past 10 years versus spike ball in the last 2? You could say, oh, spike ball is completely, they've grown 500% or 10,000%. Disc golf has only grown whatever. But if you go back 10 years and you say, oh, wow, your player base has gone from 2,000 players to 20,000 spike ball players or whatever, make up some numbers, as opposed to disc golf, which has gone from X to Z. There's so many ways to measure. Numbers can lie.
Oh, they can tell a lot of truths.
They can tell a lot of truths. We are in
pickleball research.
Billions of households.
We are. We are.
Everybody should be advertising with us because we reach every household in the world.
Well, I think we might be blocked in a few countries. Right?
Possibly.
Especially with a name like Smashbox, we might be blocked. Dad's Drunk says, "Did you see the spike ball tennis thing? That's crazy. Played in a small glass room and everything is live, super fast paced." Yeah, I did. I think they call that racquetball. Is that what you're just kidding? Racquetball, once I saw a video, claimed to be the fastest growing sport in the U.S. at one point. So, all right. I don't know if we have much else. If not, I think we can call it. It's I've got a good... Wow. So I drove 9.5, 10 hours or so to get from Kansas City back to Wisconsin. Now tomorrow I'll turn around and drive roughly about 7 hours to get back to Kentucky. I'm not sure my geography was right on all that. Maybe I should have just taken a shortcut one way or another. But we will, of course, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be live Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're planning on another booth setup, and this may be our greatest show to date.
It may be.
I mean, Steve Dodge won't be there.
Ooh. So we kind of have free will to do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Let's cover fourth card.
Yeah. Steve tunes in from somewhere where he's with his family, and all of a sudden, we're covering fourth card. That would be awesome. If you have a friend on the fourth card and you have enough super chat that you want to bring our way, that goes to the Pro Tour account, though.
Yeah, you're super chatting the Pro Tour.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have to fix that. We need an alias. Anyway, who knows what's going to happen. But yes, live disc golf taking place. I think you're going to see some post-production. I believe you're going to see Central Coast. I believe you're going to see some Joe Mez. Usually you do. So those will be available as well over the weekend. Last I checked, looked like some good weather forecast, and excited to be down there at one of the greatest courses we find in the U.S. Ryan Pilcher said, fast answer, my MA4 question, which was earlier, something about why don't all TDs offer it? Because they don't have to. I mean, you could ask the same question as to why does a TD not offer the new MP 55 division or the FP 65 division or whatever it is now. Some TDs, and usually it's based on region, some TDs, if a division isn't, and this might be backwards thinking, but if a division isn't typically popular in an area, then simply not offering it is a way to not make for a very small division. Does that make sense? So if you're, and I'll use Wisconsin as an example. Illinois, many years ago, was just killing it with this absurd amount of recreational golfers, MA3s at the time, rec. And in Wisconsin, we weren't offering rec. We had advanced and we had intermediate. That was the lowest that our tour was traditionally offering at sanctioned events. And I said, they're getting like 30 to 60 people in rec every single weekend in Illinois. It's clearly a division. It's clearly a viable thing. I think we should offer it. And Wisconsin started offering it at our Wisconsin tour events. And now rec, of course, is a full-blown regular division, as larger than some of the other divisions. Ryan, I guess you could just kind of carry that trend right into MA4. Some TDs offer it, some don't. You can, but not all of them do. We had the same arguments years ago about lots of other divisions, so I don't know if that answers you, but
Bring your rain jacket.
seriously?
Yeah.
It's funny, at the last second I did pack it, but I didn't want to.
Looking at the Cincinnati area. Rain on Friday, rain on Saturday, and rain on Sunday.
Wow, only go back 2 days. So 50 right now it shows that it's Cincinnati, which is just a few minutes from where we are. 50% on Saturday chance right now. 100% chance on Saturday, and 90% chance on Sunday. So that sounds absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm going to feel sorry for you. Well, you're going to be in the booth.
I'm going to be in the booth, but that doesn't make it.
Yeah, it doesn't make our cameramen any happier.
Or our tens of thousands of dollars of equipment.
That too.
Ugh. That's a pretty pissy way to end it. Thanks, Johnny.
It's not my fault.
No, it is.
Someone told me to.
You just said.
Larry Puckett told me to Google Cincinnati weather that it doesn't look good. Larry Puckett, it's your fault.
Well, thanks, Larry. Jerk.
On that note, we love you.
We love you. If you're a
especially if you're here tonight.
if you're a Patreon supporter, then we love you. Just kidding. We love you all. All right, we're gonna call it. It's been fun. Thanks to all our regular guests from before, Johnny V, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. That's Podcast 204. We'll see you this weekend, coming to you live from a rainy Kentucky. We'll see you then when you step inside the Smashbox.